You're saying is that you want us to put water on the crops.
Yes.
Water, like out the toilet?
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be out of the toilet, but yeah, that's the idea.
But Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
Okay, look, the plants aren't growing, so I'm pretty sure that the Brondo's not working. Now, I'm no botanist, but I do know that if you put water on plants, they grow.
Oh, well, I've never seen no plants grow out of no toilet.
Hey, that's good. You sure you ain't the smartest guy in the world?
Yeah.
So let's go back.
Okay, look, you want to solve this problem. I want to get my pardon, so why don't we just try it, okay? And not worry about what plants crave.
Brondo's got what plants crave.
Yeah, it's got electrolytes.
What are electrolytes? Do you even know?
It's what they use to make Brondo.
Yeah, but why did they use them to make Brondo?
Because Brondo's got electrolytes.
Well, folks, they finally did it. They actually did it. No more talking about it, no more threatening. They actually pulled the trigger. There's no putting this toothpaste back into the tube, baby. Demoncrats are out there dancing on President Trump's grave, dancing on your grave, dancing on my grave. Ultimate and final victory they think has been achieved. I believe it is our job to prove them wrong. Greetings to you, crusaders across the amber waves of Biden's prison island. So Mike Church Show here live on the Crusade Radio Network asking the question of the day.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Well, I'll tell you. Just remember.
Oh, and remember, Friday is Hawaiian Shirt Day. So, you know, if you want to, go ahead and wear a Hawaiian shirt and jeans.
I am in compliance.
It's Repo. It's Repo.
Yes, it is a free phone. Free phone Friday. They are charged with the task of telling us what it is we shall talk about here on the program. Telephone number to take me up on this kind, benevolent, beneficent offer of the use of these radio airwaves. Call me sometime when you have no class. 844-527-8723. 844-5-CRUSADE. Email address, same as it ever has been. I am King Dude at protonmail.com. Your commentary is welcome at crusadechannel.com/chat. Welcoming all of you that are listening on 1010 WXKG, The King in Atlanta, on the YouTube channels, later on X and on Rumble this morning. Good morning to you. And remember, I played this at the end of our coverage of the conviction of President Trump on all 34 charges, which we're still trying to find out. We're still trying to understand exactly what the man was convicted of. And how did you arrive at all 34? So it was 34 times that the check was entered, if I understand it correctly, was entered into a ledger of any sort. One of the ledgers being his own personal checkbook. I prayed about this before we came in here today and asked the mother of our Redeemer for some wisdom and some guidance and some help. Because really right now, as Newt Gingrich said 2 days ago, prayer. You need to pray. There's a lot of other things you got to do, but make sure that you're covering the prayer part. I headed over to Breitbart.com. Did you give me that headline? Head over to Breitbart.com and you will find this. We talked about this yesterday. Trump found guilty on feast day of Joan d'Arc, patron saint of prisoners and hero of patriots. Ladies and gentlemen, there are no coincidences. I do not believe in coincidences, especially when the Holy Ghost or the Holy Spirit is at work. This is not a coincidence. As a matter of fact, it's almost miraculous. It may even be to the man's advantage. Because yesterday afternoon, after I had finished recording my interview with Enoch, the rapper, which is really, really cool, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it. And he's going to be on the show next Tuesday. After I finished with Enoch, we were sitting here and we were watching the coverage from inside the courtroom because there's people in there that were actually tweeting out what was going on. And at about 3:30, about 3:15 Central Standard Time, the notice flashed up on the screen. We were watching it on Fox News that the jurors had apparently reached an impasse, and Judge Mershon, in a little hissy fit, said, "Well, go home then. You're useless to me and all of us. Go home." And he said he was going to dismiss them. First, it was at 6:30. And then he said, then he moved it up to 4:30, which would have been 15 minutes from where we were. It was about 3:15 Central Standard Time. I remember at the beginning of the broadcast, I even said it. And then 60 seconds later, literally 1 minute later, breaking, a verdict has been reached. They said that the verdict would be read in about 10 minutes or so. It was a little after 3. I had Magdalene Rose on the phone. Magdalene and I were talking about what could possibly go down. And then, and this is all, we have the podcast. Those of you that missed it, I'm going to make it public for anyone that wants it. We have the video of it, so we have the YouTube video of it. Or the Twitter video of it, because it was a historical moment, and we were here on air on the Crusade Radio Network, just as we promised we would be in January, to cover anything and everything that happened with Campaign 2024 within our power that we had access to, and we were live on air. I read the time code out. It was 3:14 p.m., 44 seconds, when the first guilty verdict was read. Mark that date, dude. I think it was either 3:14 or 3:15. Then they started reading the counts. Count 1, guilty. Count 2, guilty. By the time we got to count 9, it's like, okay, this is going to be a unanimous, yeah, he did it, lock him up. Guilty on all 34 counts. And then there were some questions that were asked in the courtroom as we were all talking about this in stunned disbelief. And I don't know why. Maggie even said this right before we came on air. We all knew that this is what this is what the play was. No one really expected. And as I told George Webb in my interview with George 3 days ago, George, no one wants to believe that these people are actually capable of this here in the United States. You know, we Americans, this doesn't happen here. This happens in Soviet Russia. This happens with the Bolshevik Revolution. This happens with the red Bolsheviks versus the white Bolsheviks, or the Bolsheviks versus the Mensheviks. This doesn't happen here. This happens when the commies actually take over in Cuba. This happens when Garcia Moreno is actually assassinated in Ecuador, and the Communist Party or the Fabian Socialist Party takes back over. This doesn't happen here. This is America. It can't happen here. We've got a constitution, darn it. But it did. It frickin' happened. They did it. They did it with impunity. Nay, they're doing it with impunity. This isn't over. This isn't over. As Richard Barrett and I and Magdalene Rose and I discussed, Magdalene had to bug out because she had to take care of little Benna. But Barrett and I stayed on for another hour, and we talked about this. We played Alex Jones. We played a bunch of sound bites. We'll play them all for you again today. But I want to go back to a point that I made with Richard over this. Remember, this all began on the night of November the 3rd, 2020. We were covering the election. Remember, Don Arico or Don from the Bronx, Mike Parrott, Richard Barrett, and I. Magdalene was chiming in. It was 20. No, I don't think Magdalene was. I don't think we had Magdalene at the time. It was us four. And at about 10 o'clock or so Central Standard Time, seemed like it was going to be over. Trump was going to cruise to victory in Pennsylvania and Michigan with the significant returns that were in. Florida was already decided. Ohio was decided. And it looked like, well, that he had achieved and had won re-election. And then the water pipe burst in Atlanta at State Farm, or didn't burst, or whatever happened. And then all Hades broke loose. And we stayed on air until about 2 o'clock that morning. And we're realizing, as you watch the counters start to flip, and a seemingly 700 and some odd thousand vote lead in Pennsylvania evaporated, just gone. A 500,000 some odd vote lead in Michigan, by 10 o'clock the next morning, gone. No one can believe what's happening here. Okay, let's just reset the clocks here then on the Mike Church Show. I'm going to get you all up to speed. That's phase one. That was the launch of phase one of this, okay? So they launched phase one, they got away with it. Don't ever forget, and I'm not going to let you forget. Remember when Biden came out? By Friday, it was apparent that the fix was in, and that the needed amount of votes, no matter what state you're talking about, had been inserted, and they were there. Biden came out and basically proclaimed victory and declared all of us as enemies of the state, and then ended that with, and he kept doing it, and God bless our troops. Why? You're not commander-in-chief. We're not at war anywhere. Why are you remember, and me saying, dude, that's code. That is code for the op is good. We're running status quo. We're all good on the scheme. God bless our troops is code for we are a go. Because he kept saying it. And he's still saying it. So that's phase one. What was phase two? Well, phase two is obvious. Feast of the Epiphany and people taking selfies. Little inside Mike Church Show code. Phase two was Feast of the Epiphany, people taking selfies. They knew that this was going to happen, by the way, because their guys planned it. Ray Epps and those people, they planned this. They knew. They actually denied the request that the president had made, it was Trump at the time, for additional National Guard troops and what have you. The whole thing was a scheme. That was phase two. I estimate right now, by what Biden has done, that we are either, according to their playbook, we are either at phase 5 or phase 6 of this operation. One of the phases, obviously, was to take over the Injustice Department and then turn it into a weapon to be aimed at me, at you, their enemies, because we are their enemy. If Trump is their enemy, he's their enemy because we make him president, you see? So that makes us, by extension, their enemies. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, this is no BS. This is not 1980 of Reagan versus Carter. This is not Bush versus Gore. This is war. And they intend to win. They did not do what they did in that courtroom yesterday. And that was a phase. The lawfare was a phase. It wasn't multiple phases. All four of the suits compromise or encompass one phase. So lock your opponent in jail. That's a phase, okay? You can check that box. Here is what is likely to happen now that we're at phase 4 or phase 5, because phase 6 is coming. What is phase 5 or phase 6? Phase 5 or phase 6 is the sentencing. For this alleged crime and against this supposed statute, the maximum penalty is 4 years per count. Now, the fact that they counted this 34 times, we talked about this when the indictment was handed down, and how you can't do that, dude. You can't every time the check passes from this ledger and then is cash, and then count that as an offense. That's how they counted all the offenses. So just the sheer amount of counts he was charged with, all of that is part of this phase and this scheme as well. This is for a maximum. It sounds horrible. 34 felonies. What a criminal mastermind this Trump guy is. As one guy quipped on Twitter, if only Trump would have videotaped himself having sex with hookers, snorting and shooting up illegal drugs and recording it all and doing all the things and cheating on his taxes and all of the things that Hunter Biden did, none of this ever would have happened. Instead, he wrote a check out of his personal account and called it a legal expense, which it was, and now all Hades is broken loose. So here's what phase either 5 or phase 6 is. The sentencing is set for July the 11th. Now, that's mighty convenient, isn't it? Well, why is that convenient, Mike? That's 4 days before the Republican National Convention is supposed to begin. Judge Mershon could have been magnanimous and could have said, "I'm not going to sentence you until after the election. You're in a race, or you're running a political campaign. I don't want people to think that we're trying to keep you from that. So we're going to go and let you campaign." That's the magnanimous thing. These people are not magnanimous. Biden basically came out, cut Trump's head off, and spiked it in the end zone, and then pissed on it for good measure. Understand what you're up against, folks. These aren't Democrats. These are Demoncrats. So phase 5 or phase 6. Mershon is going to sentence him to prison. He's going to lock him up. Do not be swayed, and do not think these people are magnanimous, and do not think that we've made our point. Oh, no. This isn't about making points. This is about winning an election. This is about maintaining and seizing control and maintaining raw power. You might want to think about what it is that they want to use that raw power for, because there is something afoot that is so grand in its scheme and has such impact, maybe for the entirety of the human race, that they're willing to do this. By the way, I'll just drop this one in your craw. Welcome back here to the Mike Church on the Crusade Radio Network. I agree with Tucker Carlson. If they can't keep him in jail and if the polls don't turn in their favor, do not think that they won't kill him. Now, you don't want to believe any of this, do you? I don't want to believe it. Don't think that they won't assassinate him. As a matter of fact, if I'm President Trump and his family, dude, I am quadrupling. You better know who it is, and you better know every single person, and take nothing for granted no matter where you go. The days of showing up at Trump rallies with 100,000 people and very little security, No. There are grassy knolls out there. Be very aware of where they are. So here's how this is going to play out. I'm going to give it to you right now. This is what is going to happen. I'm going to tell you what is going to happen. On July the 11th, they're going to drag Trump. No, the first thing they're going to do, they're going to file this today. They're going to file a motion, what's called a stay. They're going to file a stay, and they're going to ask that the sentencing be delayed. Okay? They're going to argue that this is an extreme case. There is a presidential election going on. Can we have a stay for the sentencing part of this until after November the 5th? Okay? Marshawn is going to go, get that shit out of here. Sorry. Get that poop out of here. It's going to swat it out of the way and go, nope, not going to happen. Then they're going to ask for another stay. I'm saying, well, can you just give us a shorter stay so that, we can prepare? He's going to say no again. Nope, it's going to happen on July the 11th. He better be here, or we're going to send the U.S. Marshals to go get him. Now, this is an interesting little twist here, and I'm not sure how this plays out, but these were supposedly now state charges. So this is an alleged crime against the state of New York. How many states have extradition treaties with New York? Here's another question. How many states do not have extradition treaties? Can legislatures be called into emergency session? Can the state of Louisiana, for example, our legislature's in session, can Governor Landry say, I want you guys to draft and pass immediately, and I'll sign it, that we no longer have an extradition treaty with the state of New York? You smart people out there, and you see where I'm going with this. Donald Trump may leave New York and never return until all this is over and go play Paul McCartney and Band on the Run. Band Trump on the Run. Trump on it. Now, I don't think he's going to do that, but this is what's going to happen. They're going to drag him in that courtroom on July the 11th. Marshawn is going to throw the book at him. Marshawn's going to say, oh, you are the most just despicable, incredulous, diabolical, disgusting excuse for a business person this state has ever seen. You are a criminal. You have committed horrific crimes against the people. He's going to lecture him against the people of this great state. And for that, and for the 34 times you flouted the law, Donald John Trump, I sentence you to 144 years. 36 years. 136 years. Sentence to be carried out immediately at Rikers Island. Court is dismissed. Immediately, then the Trump's attorneys are then going to file an appeal for an expedited appeal for this to be heard. Now, they're going to also, I left one step out. They're going to file an appeal that the sentencing be delayed until the appeal is heard. He's going to deny it. Why? Because Trump must be locked up. He must be in prison on July the 15th, the date of his nomination at the Republican National Convention. That's the play. That's phase 5 or 6. More coming up, folks. Don't go away.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Radio Network News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Friday, May the 31st, 2024. This report is brought to you by Cookin' with the King Dude Meat Rubs. Try a bag of beast and butt rub for pork and Acadiana steak rub and seasoning. A taste of Louisiana for American beef. Our rubs feature competition quality with home-cooked convenience and are created by Mike Church. Available at mikechurch.com/rubs. In the market report, all three major indexes fell the last close. The Dow was down 0.86% and the S&P 0.60. NASDAQ also dropped 1.08%. In National Calendar Day news today is National Utah Day, celebrating the 45th state, or the Beehive State, to join the Union, which happened on January 4th, 1896. It's home, as you know, to the Great Salt Lake. I like the next one. It's National Smile Day, so keep that smile on your face today. It's also National Macaroon Day. It's Complete Sentences Day, so you're supposed to speak in complete sentences today. It's also National Autonomous Vehicle Day, celebrating driving cars and all of those things of the future, and also Fasciitis Awareness Day. Our quote of the day: "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." Martin Luther King. And our saint of the day, Saint Petronilla. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News.
Hey, it's the King Dude for My Pillow. Mike Lindell sent me my first set of My Pillows 14 years ago. I loved them then, and I still love that same set of original My Pillows today. True story. Now, that's a testament to the craftsmanship and quality of the My Pillow. But don't take my word for it. Go try it for yourself. Use my unique code and get huge discounts and free shipping on all orders by going to mypillow.com/King Dude. That's mypillow.com/King Dude. Hi, it's Mike Church.
And I'm Mike Parrott.
Almost every American schoolchild can tell you what 3 rights are in the Declaration of Independence. That among these are
life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But their civics knowledge ends there, and that's a problem. That's why I'm proud to have participated in one effort that I hope addresses this issue, the Covington Compact.
That's right, Mike. You can see the compact at crusadechannel.com/compact.
Strike a blow for New Christendom. Read, sign, and distribute the Covington Compact today at crusadechannel.com/compact.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-245-8178. 800-245-8178. That's 800-245-8178.
Now, let's get you back to the reason you woke up early this morning. The Mike Church Show.
If you know the name of this song, you'll know why I played it. That's Don't Look Back. Baby, don't look back. How you doing? It's the Mike Church Show here on the Crusade Radio Network. The fastest 3 hours in all of radio. Won't be 3 hours today, though. Today will be, 3 hours here, and then we will cover the Trump press conference live from Trump Tower at whatever, it's 11 a.m., so Eastern, it's at 10 a.m. Central here. Call inline telephone number 844-527-8723, 844-5-CRUSADE. Donate to our cause. If you appreciate the fact that we are here doing extra double duty, covering all of these events, and we will cover all of them as we pledged in January, then make a donation to the cause or become a Founders Pass member. To make a donation, crusadechannel.com/donate. To just become a Founders Pass member, which you should do anyway. You say you hate the MSM and what they just participated in and did to Trump? Well, then join us. We'll replace them for you. crusadechannel.com/go. Okay, so I was making the point. 134 years is maximum sentence that Judge Marchand can throw at President Trump. Now, I know that they have a codicil in the New York State Constitution against cruel and unusual punishment. For a ledger error and a checkbook, an alleged ledger error, 134 years seems a little extreme to me. Ladies and gentlemen, It gives me no pleasure to even do this broadcast today, but to tell you that they don't, apparently they don't care. All of the norms of American Christian society have been suspended. Hey, good game, shake hands. Oh, no. There's no good game, shake hands. Well, you know, it's not how you win or lose, whether you win or lose is how you play the game. Oh, no, they're playing to win. They're playing to win. Make no mistake about it. I agree with some of the comments that we are seeing on Twitter yesterday. Sean Davis, I think, was. Can you pull Sean's up for me real quick? But let me just put a musical cue and a maybe relatable movie reference into your brain. I was telling this to Maggie this morning, and I wrote about this on my Substack, thekingdude.substack.com, and on the Twitter, at thekingdude. You know what you should be wanting to hear right now? And look, don't get sidetracked with any of this. Oh, they're just the kids on the other side of the aisle. Oh, they'll come around and we'll have hot dogs and chili and barbecue on July the 4th. Did you see what Bragg did? That Biden guy. Yeah, well, come here, Biden. That's not how the game's played. Not when you're at this level and not when you've done what they've done. I want to hear Clapton's Layla playing. Every time one of these bastards is taken out, and they need to be taken out, I mean, they need to have done to them what they just did to him. Remember the scene in Goodfellas? That's what I see, and that's what I hear. Find the guy and his wife in the pink Cadillac, both shot through the head. They find the two good fellas in the Dempsey dumpster as they're emptying it into the trash truck. Remember that? They find the guy, Bonino, in a reefer, hung like a piece of pig carcass. And as Henry Hill tells the story, Ray Liotta, frozen so solid, it took 2 days to thaw him out to do an autopsy. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. MAGA people should be hearing Layla. I don't want any of this Lee Greenwood crap. I want to hear Layla. Did you find Sean Davis? His tweet last night about the warfare that is upon us. We don't want to hear anything from you people other than, who are you going to go after? They did it to you. They did it to him. They can do it to all of us. You better take them out before they come for you. Now, there's another little thing here that you may not know, you may not have heard, but I will share it with you today. As you listen to Layla and you think about this. Did you know that there was a $17 million hush money payout for sex harassment charges paid out of Congress? Did you know that? Gee, I wonder who authorized that. Members of Congress? Who is it paid to? Women and men. Yes, homosexuals at play. Who harassed and abused Pages and other people that worked in Congress. 17 million! Why haven't I heard about those people being found in reefer cars like they are trying to do to Trump? Why weren't they? How come there were no penalties for this? Representative Thomas Massey tweeted this out last night, going like, They got him on $130,000 for claiming it was illegal entry or whatever. It doesn't even matter what it was. And he goes, why is no one digging into then, and why aren't we bringing to justice? Nope. Why aren't we bringing to justice the people responsible for the 17 million? And by the way, are their names known? If the former congressional staffers or whatever filed the complaints and were threatening to sue, well, I would say that the names are known. Where's the beef? CNN even has a story. It's an older story, but I'll still share it with you. This is from November of 2017. Congress paid out $17 million in settlements. Here's why we know so little about that money. That was in 2017. What was the year that they say that Trump supposedly did these awful, awful things? 2017. Yeah, but there's a statute of limitation. No, there isn't. No, not for felonies. No. The felony could still be on the books. The enemy does not take prisoners. The enemy doesn't care about you. The enemy doesn't care about any of the decorum. As I said earlier, everything you knew about America and about how we conducted business and what we thought about our political opponents or whatever, everything has now changed. If we don't adjust, you're going to get run over. And if you get run over in this, can you imagine the hulking menace? Russia was not a very wealthy country in 1917 when Tsar Nicholas and his family were assassinated in a basement. And the Bolsheviks beat the Mensheviks, thanks to Woodrow Wilson, and took over then Tsarist Russia and turned it into the menace that the Soviet Union became. It was not a very wealthy country. It wasn't. It still isn't that wealthy. Here is what, or just going through, so what did they do then? So after they killed the Tsar, they came in with the Bolsheviks and they identified all the rest of the enemies that they thought were enemies or would be enemies of the state, of the new state of the Soviet Union. By the way, Soviet just means community in Russian. So to have their little communist community, they identified the enemies, they rounded up, and they freaking executed them. They killed them, all of them. Then they began going town by town and installing their own little totalitarian little dictators here. Ladies and gentlemen, this continued all the way up until the 1940s. Do some math here. Lenin is on a killing spree until he dies. Stalin takes over and remains on a killing spree. Where do you think we get the term gulag from? And he should have come out. There were no, here, let me give you a hint. There were no gulags under Tsar Nicholas. Supposedly, there aren't any gulags today under the Russian Federation and President Putin. But there sure as hell were gulags under Joseph Stalin. Let's sear this into your memory, into your mind here, and understand what's going on here. In 1940, in the forest in Katyn, 5,000 Polish officers were rounded up and murdered by the Soviet Red Army under Stalin's orders. Why? Well, there was a chance that the commander-in-chief then, that would have been Stalin, could have made an address to the Polish officers and could have asked for their cooperation. And in asking for their cooperation, maybe they got that cooperation. And maybe the Polish officer went, okay, yada. We will give this We'll give this new Soviet Union, we'll give this new government a chance. We'll give you guys a chance. They didn't even go there. Stalin went, I'm not taking the chance. I think they made a movie about Katyn. They didn't make a movie about Katyn. And they rounded these, and look, they didn't just kill the officers, they killed their families too. This was a complete and total slaughter. Now, if you do it from 1917 to 1940, that by my count is 23 years of winnowing the ranks of the opposition out, and then moving on to the countries that you have forcibly rolled into the Soviet Union, and then going through them and killing their leaders as well. We have state legislatures. We have governors. If Governor DeSantis thinks that he can stand up to the Biden regime by releasing something on Twitter, he is mistaken. If Governor Landry thinks that he can stand up to the Biden regime and what these people are capable of by writing notes on Twitter and saying that this is all going to pass and, you know, American people shouldn't take this and all this, you better prepare the people of Louisiana for war. What happens if what I said, this is the Crusade Radio Network, what happens if what I just said comes true? I'm seriously, ponder that question for just a moment. Think about that. What happens if Mershon sentences Trump on July the 11th and they throw him into jail that day at Rikers Island? Now, again, he could be magnanimous, and I don't know, maybe he would be, and say, I'm not going to make you report to jail to start serving your sentence until November the 6th. Oh, you talk about a constitutional crisis there. I don't think the Biden regime is going to take that chance. I think that they want him locked up in jail. I also agree with Richard Barrett that we will probably learn in the next day or so here, I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't happen today, the Biden regime is going to cancel the debate with Trump because they're going to say, we don't debate criminals. I'm not sharing the stage with a convicted felon, which is why they accepted the debate. We should have all known that. Why they accepted the debate in the first place in June on June the 26th.
I said that. They accepted it because they knew it would be.
Yeah, because they knew that there wouldn't be a debate, that Trump would be convicted because the fix was in. Here's what I was looking for with Sean Davis, who was a founder of The Federalist. If you're a Republican running for office, you can just go ahead and throw away all of your elegant little policy proposals for this or that corporate exclusion or tax subsidy. I'm going to add some emphasis here. No, screw that. Give me a list of which Democrat officials you're going to put in prison or get lost. There's only one way to deal with nuclear war, which is what the Democrats have now unleashed, and that is mutually assured destruction. Demoncrats declared war on our entire system of justice and the rule of law, and our only options are victory or defeat. I intend to win, do you? Sean Davis isn't a radical hothead. He's a very conservative guy, but he's not a radical. He's not Alex Jones. Why would he write such a thing? Because he's smart. Maybe he knows a little history. Let me take you to my friend William Briggs. Briggs says, I have a rule. I don't write on Friday unless there's an event. There was an event. Briggs, here are my guesses. The verdict itself was expected. The fix was always in, which is why they had the farce in the first place. It's amusing to wonder what those two lawyers on the jury said during deliberations. Look, we're the experts. Here's why we must convict. The left is giddy, peeing its pants with joy, and pointing to the wet spots with pride. What the trial did to the country, well, they don't care. Power they care about, and now they have it. No matter what else happens, we are in some deep kimchi. Our side is anything from bemused to seething. Many now vow to vote harder for Trump. Word is that Trump's donation site busted from the overflow. It did. It did. True story. Many will vote harder. That's great. Where's Brian Kay at when I need him? Hashtag vote harder. You can't vote harder. Voting won't fix this. Now, it may keep Biden out of it. It may. But you got to have a candidate. But do not easily forget how easily led most are. The propaganda will be flying through the air thicker than a lobbyist at a budget bill drafting. We will see or hear the words convicted felon at least hourly from now into the Republican convention. This will have an effect. I agree. You're going to hear it nonstop. Biden's the first one, again, cut Trump's head off, threw it on the ground, and pissed on it last night. He's a convicted felon. We always knew he thought he was above the law. Now he's not. You know, the irony of that coming from the head of an actual crime family. Voting for convicted felon Trump requires convicted felon Trump to be on the Republican ballot, which he may be, but I have my doubts. My guess is that he might not be. There was no accident that the sentencing is only a couple days for the Republican Party. Now, again, our campaign affairs correspondent, Magdalene Rose, said something when they were on coverage when the guilty verdicts were being read. I said, well, you know, what's your first reaction? She goes, first reaction, the GOP needs to move. When we learned that July 11th was the sentencing date, the GOP better get smart. By the way, this is the Crusade Radio Network. The GOP better get smart, and it better move its convention up. I don't care what kind of arrangements they've made for July the 11th. Forget that. Or for July the 15th. All bets are off. You need to have that convention, make it July 1st. Trump is nominated on July 4th. If Milwaukee can't accommodate, screw it. You lose the deposit, so what? Have it at Mar-a-Lago. Declare who the vice presidential candidate is. Do it today. Don't wait. Get out ahead of this monster. This is a tidal wave that will engulf all of us. Get out ahead of it. Say this is Vivek Magaswamy is my Veep or whoever it is. It doesn't. I don't even care who it is. Well, I do, but yeah, I kind of do. Well, Nikki Haley's busy writing her love notes to Gazan children on bombs that the IDF is going to hurl into Palestine and Rafah today. So she didn't have time for that. This is Jonathan Turley is talking now.
That may be the most ignored piece of advice ever in this courthouse. Yeah.
Right, because you thought it was going to be the end of the day, back to deliberations today, and it ended up being, I'm sorry, there's a note here. We have a verdict.
It was crazy when the judge came and said, we're done for the day, and then came back and said, oops, we have a verdict.
Wow.
Well, you did a great job. You were there.
All right. Briggs. There is no accident. The sentencing is only a couple of days before the Republican Party were to announce convicted felon Trump as their official pick. This gives us a good 6 or 7 weeks of solid propaganda, followed by polling, which will show that many discover they do not like the idea of voting for convicted felon Trump. The mass media, dude, is going to spring into double secret probation action today. Every pollster alive is going to have millions of dollars literally thrown at them to go conduct rigged polls to produce the results that are necessary, which is, no, I think I changed my mind. I can't vote harder for the convicted felon. That's in the look that you can just bank on it. We'll report on it, but that's as my old friend Mark Kresler used to say, that's baked in. They baked that into this phase, which is either phase 5 or phase 6. He will still be convicted felon Trump, even if by some legal miracle, and convicted felon Trump specializes in miracles, so never count him out, has his conviction overturned or appealed away. Now, Mark Levin still thinks that Trump hasn't appealed to the SCOTUS. What?
So does Turley.
And Jonathan Turley thinks he does too. There are others because this was such a gross miscarriage of justice, and he was denied constitutional due process. That yes, maybe this is why the SCOTUS has been so, or the leftards have been so animated in their hatred of it. We need to delegitimize this court. This court is not legitimate. You know, they prepped us all for this too. Because if the SCOTUS were to come like, okay, we'll hear the appeal. Yeah, it's an emergency. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we heard the appeal. We're going to issue an emergency. Yeah, we are vacating the verdict. 5-4. I don't care if Roberts is down with it or not. We're vacating the verdict, and we're not sending it back down because there's been a gross miscarriage of justice. We're declaring a mistrial, and we're vacating the verdict, which they actually have the authority and the power to do. Now, is this part of the leftards' plan? Do they want the SCOTUS to do this so they can declare war internally against the Supreme Court of the United States? What is the Biden regime willing to do? Are they willing to place Samuel Alito under house arrest? Tell him he can't go and vote? Are they willing to find? I have all kind of dirt supposedly on Clarence Thomas. He is a practicing traditional radical Catholic. The FBI going to find something on Clarence Thomas and say, no, you can't leave the house either. You're under house arrest.
They're already after Alito for his past.
Right, because they're already trying to lock Alito up or have him recuse himself from a case because of his alleged, because of the flags that he's flying at his vacation home. Don't put anything past these people. Well, what if the SCOTUS did vacate the decision then? You still have, they're not going to stop using convicted felon. Don't forget, Fani Willis is still out there, dude. And of course, Fani Willis and Nathan Wade are allowed to run around and shower themselves with illicitly obtained cash money and not put it in registers. Do you see? The irony of this may be my most profound thought of the day. The irony of this cannot be lost on you people, and it shouldn't be. Willis and Wade are walking free today because they didn't keep a ledger of all this cash that they were throwing around. Which you know what the source was. The Democrats were throwing this at them. But because Trump tried to do the right thing and kept a ledger thinking he was doing the right thing, he's now convicted felon. This is the enemy. This is how they work, folks. Don't put anything past them. Don't get complicit. We'll be right back.
The Crusade Channel, your news talk and Art Bell station. UFOs, Bigfoot, and ghost-busting conspiracy theory radio begins. Weeknights, Art Bell and the Graveyard Shift. Midnight East, 9 West on CrusadeChannel.com.
In the beginning, there was beer, and man saw that beer was good. And man said,
wouldn't 6 of these packaged together be even better?
Then man created the six-pack and saw that it was good. Next, man invented the cigar, and man saw that the cigar was good. And man said,
let's pack them up in boxes of 25.
Then man... 25? What was wrong with 6?
Announcing an idea whose time has come. MB Fuma Off the Boat Cigars. Now in 6-pack and 4-pack samplers. Right alongside Manchupi and Maria's cigars in singles and 4-pack samplers. On sale now at shopmikechurch.com. That's shopmikechurch.com. And this is supposed to be a 60-second tight spot, so one more time, shopmikechurch.com.
What's the best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want? Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee results or you pay nothing. Exit your timeshare today. Call now.
800-290-6705. 800-290-6705. That's 800-290-6705.
You're listening to the Crusade Channel, a Black Hat Studios media property, broadcasting live 24/7 from Madisonville, Louisiana, and to the world via CrusadeChannel.com. The Crusade Channel, your news, talk, and midday show station. Fiorella De Maria lowers your blood pressure and chats with you over lunch. Lunch, talk, and chat radio is live, noon Eastern, on CrusadeChannel.com.
Hi, I'm Magdalene Rose with today's Crusade Radio Network campaign report for Friday, May 31st, 2024. Here's what's happening today. The Biden administration has quietly given Ukraine permission to strike inside Russia, solely near the area of Kharkiv, using U.S.-provided weapons. 3 U.S. officials and 2 other people familiar with the move said Thursday. Donald Trump became the first former American president to be convicted of felony crimes on Thursday, as a New York jury found him guilty of all 34 charges in a scheme to allegedly illegally influence the 2016 election through a hush money payment. RFK Jr.'s campaign filed a complaint with the Federal Election Commission on Tuesday, alleging Biden and Trump's campaigns and CNN violated federal campaign laws in scheduling the network's June 27th debate. And now we wait for Trump's sentencing. For more details and the links to these stories and more, head to crusadechannel.com/news.
Do you hear that, Maggie?
Do I hear what?
You don't hear the sound of bees buzzing about?
No, I see the result of that buzzing about and these beautiful new beeswax candles.
We sell candles now?
Not just any candles. These are handmade beeswax candles.
Well, that explains me imagining bees.
And they come in different sizes. There's a votive, a 3-day, and a 7-day size too.
Well, that should start a buzz in the store.
It better, or you'll get the buzz.
Order handmade beeswax candles today while supplies last at shop.mikechurch.com.
Did you know it took centuries to develop the Hail Mary prayer? First, the monastics began adding, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you, to the end of their psalm readings. Later, Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus, was added. And by the 15th century, the Hail Mary was complete and took the place of the 150 Our Fathers many prayed daily. Today, the work of art that is the Rosary is cherished by millions, and there is no finer maker of this art than Maggie O'Connell's Little Bayou Rosary. Find her Rosary creations today at shop.mikechurch.com.
Attention Coffee Police Academy students. We will now call the roll. CPA candidate Jones. Present. Joe Arabica Friday.
Present.
Tommy.
Oh, I'm here, sir. I just can't seem to keep my eyes open since I started drinking this Barrett Bargain Basement Stale Bean Water.
And just why are you violating CPA Coffee Code SBW1AM?
Well, that's easy. So I can save up money to get into the Coffee Cop Academy.
Son, breaking CPA rules so you can get into CPA is no way to become a coffee cop. Now, I'm afraid we're going to have to...
Uh-oh. Sounds like Lou has found the academy, and he's on his 2nd cup of Abbey Roast.
Well, what does he want?
He wants to know why the CPA didn't recognize his Rougarou nouns.
Rougarou nouns? And I'm the one that rejected his application.
Will Lou the Roo Guru have his revenge and grind the coffee cop into espresso? Stay tuned to this station for our next episode. And in the meantime, order Abbey Roast Coffee at shop.mikechurch.com.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Radio Network News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Friday, May the 31st, 2024. This report is brought to you by Cookin' with the King Dude Meat Rubs. Try a bag of beast and butt rub for pork and Acadiana steak rub and seasoning. A taste of Louisiana for American beef. Our rubs feature competition quality with home-cooked convenience and are created by Mike Church. Available at mikechurch.com/rubs. In the market report, all 3 major indexes fell. The last close, the Dow was down 0.86% and the S&P 0.60. NASDAQ also dropped 1.08%. In National Calendar Day news today is National Utah Day, celebrating the 45th state, or the Beehive State, to join the Union, which happened on January 4th, 1896. It's home, as you know, to the Great Salt Lake. I like the next one. It's National Smile Day, so keep that smile on your face today. It's also National Macaroon Day. It's Complete Sentences Day, so you're supposed to speak in complete sentences today. It's also National Autonomous Vehicle Day, celebrating driving cars and all of those things of the future, and also Fasciitis Awareness Day. Our quote of the day, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Martin Luther King. And our saint of the day, Saint Petronilla. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News.
Attention coffee lovers! Our Capuchin Dark Roast is now in its 6th year as Crusade Channel listeners' favorite coffee. Grab a bag of whole bean or ground, fresh roasted goodness today and take advantage of flat rate shipping and shop for all our coffees at shop.mikechurch.com.
This is Fiorella Nash, and I have a secret for our American listeners. The Founders Trading Post store is home to one of the largest collections of G.K. Chesterton books of any bookstore. From Orthodoxy to What's Wrong with the World, we are your Chesterton Superstore. You can easily shop all our G.K. Chesterton titles at shop.mikechurch.com. And trust me, your intellect and country will thank you.
If you're on a quest to make the perfect steak, then you need the perfect steak seasoning for that. And my Acadiana steak seasoning is the perfect choice because unlike many off-the-shelf rubs, Acadiana is nearly salt-free, so you control the quantity of salt to your taste. For steaks, I like to use a healthy dose of very coarse grind kosher salt, and I heavily season both sides to make a blackened sear. Acadiana is also great on seafood and veggies too. Pick up a bag or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com.
Mike Church Show fun fact number 1316. Snowflakes used to be things that fell from the sky, like fairies. Now they are fairies.
I saw a werewolf with a Chinese menu in his hand, walking through the streets of Soho in the rain.
He was looking for a place called Evil Forks. How you doing?
Gonna get a big dish of beef chow mein.
Everybody.
Werewolves of London.
What's some werewolves running around out there today, ladies and gentlemen? Marcus Tullius Cicero Meridius Maximus Augustus. Mike Church here with you, the fastest 3 hours and all the talk radio coming at you at the speed of truth. Here on a Friday morning, the day after the feast day, St. Jean d'Arc, and just recapping the news because apparently there are a lot of people out there that do not know this. I don't know how that is possible or why that is. President Trump was convicted on all 34 counts yesterday in the kangaroo court. The only thing that was missing was a kangaroo hopping out of there. Arn. In a kangaroo court in Manhattan. You know, to hear her, it's Fat Alvin. To hear Fat Alvin. No, we do these kind of prosecutions all the time. Every day, he said, it's our bread and butter. You prosecute presidents every day in Manhattan? That's your bread and butter? I think the first and obvious thing that can be done by all of you, no slight against people that we know and love in New York, no business with New York. Complete and total boycott, 0.0. None. Don't do anything. You got a company you're buying stuff from in New York, just let them know. Tell them, dude, I am not sending a penny to your state.
0.0.
Now, this puts someone like me in a quandary because I have a daughter that lives in Manhattan. And I'm arm wrestling dignity going, I'm going to get you, I'm going to pay you. On what to do about it. I've already asked for her to move. I've pleaded, get out of that godforsaken city. But I don't send her any money, and I'm not going to send her any money, and I'm certainly not going to do any business with anyone. I don't think we have any business that we're doing with New Tenochtitlan State or City. The mayor of that city is not good. The governor hates all of us. And then you see what their Injustice Department is. The state of New York should reap the whirlwind in Schumer's words. Don't do any business with these people. Don't do any. Now, if there's something that you have to get from someone in New York, well, start shopping around for a replacement source. But they need to be told. Look, they would do it to you with impunity.
Honestly, they don't grow any of their own food. If you could just starve them out if you really wanted to be a craphead.
Because the country boy can survive. Country folk can survive. So that's one of the first things that's low-hanging, easy fruit that you could pick. What did Cat Turd have to say about this? Dear Republican Party, I don't want to hear another damn word about Ukraine. Ditto that Israel, Gaza, Taiwan. I don't hear another damn word about any other country except the USA. You America last war pigs. The fascist Democrat Party has completely destroyed our country from within. We have a wide open border, and they're pooping on the Constitution while you spineless coward losers get rich on insider trading, rage tweet, and talk about your principles. They're literally arresting their political opponents and their lawyers and having kangaroo communist show trials. And you pitiful, worthless losers are doing absolutely nothing. If you don't have the ghoulies, if you don't have the ghoulies to fight for freedom, then resign. The ghoulies. Well, I think right now what Biden could use is a swift kick in the ghoulies. If you know what a ghoulie are. Okay. Reiterating, Trump found guilty on feast day of St. Joan of Arc. I told you yesterday night, that's not a coincidence. She is the patron saint of prisoners and the hero of patriots. And then there's all this. Apparently, he could be fined, Trump could be fined $5,000 for each of the 34 counts of West, $170,000. And then 134 years in jail. And then he recounts, who is this that wrote this? Rebecca Mansour and John Binder recount the story of St. Joan, which we talked about yesterday. So it happened on the feast day of St. Joan d'Arc. Isn't it amazing how all these amazing things in the Ark of Donald John Trump happen on high holy feast days? It was also Corpus Christi yesterday. Coincidence? You be the judge. Now, what do we know about the $17 million that was paid out for settling sex harassment, sex abuse, rape, and what have you lawsuits in Congress? You had a number. You said 100. How many? 100 and how many? According to the Office of Compliance, more than $170 million have been paid out in settlements over 20 years from 1997 to 2017.
Yes, there were 260 settlements total.
So 260 settlements. Now, wait a minute. These people, some of them like to go into Congress and grandstand about how the Holy Roman Catholic Church is filled with pederasts, and it's an institution that needs to be dismantled, and we can't have any justices that are Catholics and what have you here because they have all this sex going on. Well, apparently the banging, as Trump would say, hey, some other things. Apparently, members of Congress are raping and are having or sexually harassing or abusing and raping staffers in the Capitol building. Some of you, the Rainbow Purification League doesn't want you to remember this, but Maggie could look it up and you could find this story. It's out there if they haven't cleansed it. Do you know that Congressman Barney Frank, and we love to play with Pinky. Barney Frank was accused of having sex with minors, boys, who were pages in his office. This is true. I'm not making this up. This is a true story. Frank was basically grooming young men from his district in Boston and was having them leave their parents and come to Mordor as summer interns. And then Frank was grooming them and was having sex with some of them. This is all, he settled this complaint. He admitted that he did it. Why wasn't he why wasn't he prosecuted? Because he's a Democrat. Remember, folks, even when the Democrat Party loses, it never loses. It always wins. Let's do some digital media files here. This is, let's start at the top here. Do digital media file number 3. This is Trump after the verdict was read and after he came out yesterday. And I just have to say, if he were to come out today and go, okay, all right, Biden, you win, I quit. I quit. I won't run. I won't seek the nomination. They can nominate DeSantis. Ron DeSanctimonious or Crazy Nikki, whoever you want. I'm not done. My family's been through enough. I love our country, but I can't do it anymore. Bet you Mershon would just say, slap on the wrist, time served. In any event, why does he keep doing it? This is the thing that ought to be this puzzling. It ought to be an enigma of sorts. Well, you just made him. This is a 3-act Shakespeare play. The first term was Act 1. From election night 2020 until July 11th, that's Act 2, where all is lost. The hero is defeated. All of his friends and family have been chased off or are locked up or under threat of being locked up. And the future is bleak and there is nowhere to go. And it just looks like the leftards are just going to run the table and America finally becomes a USSA. That's Act 2, though. In Act 3, you get the Rocky music, and then you get, and then you get like, I'm not going to quit. Can't make me quit. Okay. I think Briggs is right, though, and I believe that this has already begun. If you tune in to any other media other than here, you're going to hear a nonstop cacophony of convicted felon Donald Trump. Now, why does this matter? Why do I keep harping on it? Why are we still talking about it? They're trying to stop you from making the decision, your own choice, to vote for him. Now, look, it doesn't matter what you think is the result of you voting. The 2 acts are separate, okay? Using your free will to determine in your mind who you think, if all things were fair and if it worked the way it was, the system worked the way it was advertised, what the president or anyone else does and you voting are not connected. They're all, okay, not connected how you think. They are connected because the second one doesn't happen without the first. What the gambit is here, though, is to force you or to compel you and me or to prevent you or me from using that free will to make that choice. They're not allowed to make the choice. I want everyone to understand that this is to deprive you of the choice. It is to deprive him of getting on the ballot and all the evil, despicable things he supposedly wants to do, but it is also to deprive you, to say to you, we're not going to let you exercise your free will. Because you're an idiot and you're going to choose him, we're not going to let you do it, okay? We're going to stop you from doing that. Now, again, I'm not talking, I would say I don't care, but I do. What he does with the power of the presidency is beyond my control and your control. But to put him there, yes, and if all things were fair and accounted and the field was level and all that, they must think that there are enough of you and me out here that we can make it happen and we can overcome their cheat. Otherwise, they wouldn't do this. Does everyone agree with me on that? That makes logical sense, does it not? That they must think that the groundswell and the amount of votes that he can put up as a candidate for the presidency are going to be larger than their ability to cheat to overcome it, okay? Otherwise, you don't need this phase. Does everyone agree with it? Do you see the logic of that? Okay, so, but they do need this phase, and now they've executed this phase. And what is this phase designed to do? It's designed to take your choice away from you. Now, what an irony that these people that claim that here's a threat to democracy, but you're trying to bring it to an end. Like Rob Schneider, the actor, I think, put it best. Remember, everything the Demoncrats warned Trump would do was a playbook of what the Demoncrats intended to do themselves. Like we always say, folks, people that are demonically compromised always project because they have to. That's part of the deal. The demons require, we're going to give you what you want, but you have to tell everyone that we told you to do it, and you got to tell them what you're going to do. They're not going to believe you, but you have to tell them through projection what it is that you're going to do. So what do they say? We're going to do anything to stay in power. Supposedly Trump would do anything to stay in power. What an irony, though. He's not in power. Biden is. What I thought he would do anything to stay in power, but he's not in power. So who's doing anything to stay in power? And by the way, is now Joseph Robinette Biden, can I just say this? Senile, angry, scowling, not very smart, wicked, stupid old man. Dude, he just took Trump off the board. Let that sink in. That senile, decrepit little punk, scowling, lying, cheating, thieving, bad Catholic, conniving bastard, just took Trump off the board. Not bad for a dementia patient. Not bad for a day's work done from a hospice bed when he's not being pumped full of drugs. Biden took Trump out. Crusade Radio Network. Let that sink in. So maybe this whole thing about him being weak and old and senile, maybe some of that's a facade. Maybe he's a really good actor. Maybe he wanted us to think that. I think it's probably more likely that someone else is making these decisions and it's not him doing it at all. But still, the Democrat Party just did the unthinkable, and they're going to get away with it. Rob Schneider, political show trials of political opponents. Check. Arresting political opponents. Now, wait a minute. I thought Trump was going to have all of his opponents arrested, but you arrested Trump and 21 of his co-conspirators in Atlanta. Check. Censoring opposing views. Well, that happens all the time. Starting more wars. Did you know while we were paying attention to what was going on in the courtroom yesterday, you know what we did? We authorized and gave the weapons to Zelensky that he may fire them deep into Russian territory. Putin's not going to play games with this. You fire a missile that gets through their surface-to-air missile defenses and it kills Russians, he's going to go to war. He's going to escalate, and he's going to do what he has the power to do, which is, worst-case scenario, kill Americans. Or he's going to kill a bunch of Ukrainians, too. And they're going to say, see what the aggressor has done. Are these lunatics really going to start a land war with the Russians? Well, it seems to me like they're sure as hell trying to do it. So remember, while we were all paying attention to what was going on in Manhattan, Zelensky was lobbing long-range missiles deep into Russian Federation territory. So what are they capable of doing? Play Trump. Here's the president after the verdict was read. And again, you could just see the look on his face like, you know what, Joe? Yeah, I'm pissed, I'm angry, but I'm angry on behalf of 80 million people. And you know what? We're coming to get you, Joe. Play your little game. We're coming to get you. You're not going to get... I'm not going anywhere. That's what he says here. Listen.
Yeah, Judge, if you'll hold on just a second. We see President Trump now. He is walking out. Let's listen.
Trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. It's a rigged trial, a disgrace. They wouldn't give us a venue change. We were at 5% or 6%. in this district, in this area. This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here. You have a Soros-backed DA, and the whole thing, we didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man, and it's okay. I'm fighting for our country. I'm fighting for our Constitution. Our whole country is being rigged right now. This was done by the Biden administration in order to wound or hurt an opponent, a political opponent. And I think it's just a disgrace. And we'll keep fighting. We'll fight till the end and we'll win because our country's gone to hell. We don't have the same country anymore. We have a divided mess. We're a nation in decline, serious decline. Millions and millions of people pouring into our country right now from prisons and from mental institutions, terrorists, and they're taking over our country. We have a country that's in big trouble, but this was a rigged decision right from day one with a conflicted judge who should have never been allowed to try this case, never. And we will fight for our Constitution. This is long from over. Thank you very much.
I started with William Briggs last segment, didn't finish it up. Regardless of what happens with the election, what's next for us? If history is a guide, violence from the left, do not discount this. The left will be drunk on power. People do stupid things when they're drunk. By the way, bombing John Bolton came out last night. Quote, today's verdict is a fire bell in the night. The Republican Party now has one last chance to change course and not nominate a convicted felon for president. There you go. And so it begins. You can expect Mitch McConnell, Mitt Romney, the usual suspects, Lynn Cheney, Dick Cheney, all of them. All of them come out today and sign a letter demanding that the RNC not nominate the convicted felon. They saw the same trial that we saw. Do you think they care? I don't. Miss Cindy in Florida. We only have 2.5 minutes, Miss Cindy, but I'll give it to you. How you doing?
I'm good, Mike. I'm so glad to be on the show, and I'm really happy that you are now on the radio too. Anyway, no, I just want to give you a little warning. So the RPOF, which is the Florida Republican Party, Peter Freeman, who was running to be the chairman, I've known him for years. He has now written and said that they are trying to get Trump off the ballot, that they really are anti-MAGA, which I believe.
Okay.
And he put his responses that he got back after he lost because he was running for the chairman of the party. Okay? In an article that I sent out today, which is no surprise. DeSantis, okay, and Never Nikki seem to have teamed up a little bit. I don't know if you saw the images of Never Nikki signing her name on a bomb.
I did see the images of her signing the name on a bomb. Here, Gaza children, take this.
Right. Well, if you look at the donors and you look at DeSantis donors and you look at Nikki donors, they're both the same people, a lot of the same people.
Yep.
DeSantis does something good, and then he goes and does something stupid. And so really conservatives, or whether you want to call MAGA people, whatever you want to say it is, are not, we're not convinced of DeSantis anymore. He sold us down the drain because he took $200 million that he ran when he was running for the governor to use that money, which does not take $200 million to run a governor's race. You know that, Michael. He used that to run for his presidential race.
Yeah.
So I don't know who's got his ear. Alex Newman swears to me up and down that he's the real deal. I always have a lot of respect for Alex Newman. I think you know who Alex is, right? Do you know who Alex is? He writes for the Liberty Centennial. He's been on with Tucker Carlson and a bunch of people. He's really bright, really bright. So I don't know. But I do know that this is a big warning shot to the grassroots, to conservatives. War. Yesterday, what did they say? Well, Biden would like to give Ukraine, the notice that he could go in and bomb, bomb right inside of Russia. Really?
It absolutely is a shot across the bow of all MAGA people. Cindy, I have to go, but thank you for the call, sweetheart.
Okay, God bless.
Oh, God bless you. Always good to hear from you. Of course, this is aimed at. Look, We're 80 some odd million. He's one. You don't do all this to get rid of one guy. You do all this to prevent 80 some odd million from exercising any sort of authority in what you think that you own. Hey, it's Mike Church, and I know you're enjoying the Crusade Radio Network because you're hearing this spot. And I'm here to tell you that you can enjoy it in crystal clear stereo and without annoying messages like this one. Sign up for Crusade Radio Network Premium Listening, and plans begin at less than $5 a month. $5! To sign up, go to crusadechannel.com/go. Once you're a premium subscriber, you can pull a Braveheart and shout, "Let my ears be free!" Treat your ears today at crusadechannel.com/go. Folks, I want to talk to you about investing in precious metals and Miles Franklin. Andy Schechtman and his father started Miles Franklin together with the belief that precious metals are wealth, not an investment. Now, you've heard Andy on the Mike Church Show. You know his knowledge and passion for precious metals is second to none. So call Miles Franklin today and tell him I sent you. 952-929-7006. Ask about precious metals storage and IRAs too. Call 952-929-7006.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-245-8178. 800-245-8178. That's 800-245-8178.
You don't have to wake up at midnight and 3 a.m. to live like a brother at an Abbey when you start your day with Abbey Roast Coffee, now in 6 blends. Take advantage of flat rate shipping and shop for Abbey Roast today at shop.mikechurch.com. Do you hear that, Maggie?
Do I hear what?
You don't hear the sound of bees buzzing about?
No, I see the result of that buzzing about and these beautiful new beeswax candles.
We sell candles now?
Not just any candles. These are handmade beeswax candles.
Well, that explains me imagining bees.
And they come in different sizes. There's a votive, a 3-day, and a 7-day size too.
Well, that should start a buzz in the store.
It better, or you'll get the buzz.
Order handmade beeswax candles today while supplies last at shop.mikechurch.com. Hi, it's Mike Church.
And I'm Mike Parrott.
Almost every American schoolchild can tell you what 3 rights are in the Declaration of Independence. That among these are
life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But their civics knowledge ends there, and that's a problem. That's why I'm proud to have participated in one effort that I hope addresses this issue, the Covington Compact.
That's right, Mike. You can see the compact at crusadechannel.com/compact.
Strike a blow for New Christendom. Read, sign, and distribute the Covington Compact today at crusadechannel.com/compact.
Attention coffee lovers! The Founders Trading Post has done it again! We've actually increased our selection of America's best gourmet coffees. Try the new Guatemala Le Eterna roast from Twin Pikes Roastery. Order today and take advantage of flat rate shipping at...
The King Dude, working toward the day when all Walmarts are sold out of women's kitchen aprons and frying pans.
Truly is a tragedy.
Tragedy!
This portion of the program brought to you by us. Join us, ladies and gentlemen. Make a donation to the Crusade Radio Network today. $5 will get us started. Go to crusadechannel.com/donate. Or if you really hate the MSM, the Malachian Satanic Media, and who doesn't, join the Crusade Radio Network. Become a subscribing member. Get access to the premium 24/7 stream, all of our podcasts, which number in the thousands. I have over 2,000 myself. And much, much more. Subscribe today, and you get access to our chat room at crusadechannel.com/go. Sing it, Barry. Here it comes. Now, I wonder, we talk about all this stuff here, and we're going to keep talking about it. By the way, I'm going to get into some intellectual material here. Those of you that just like to gobble down the filet mignon part of the menu, we're going to have some asparagus in a minute, okay? I think you should stay and eat the asparagus too, but that's just me. Of course, it's a Friday here, and we don't eat meat, but those of you that do. What is President Trump doing this morning? Is he singing Bee Gees? Is he going, woe is me, it's tragedy, it's terrible, where's Don Jr.? Or is he becoming more resolute? By the way, when a man is pushed like this, I've heard so many conversion stories in the last 5, 8, 9, 10 years. Wonderful, beautiful, touching, and inspirational, miraculous conversion stories. Almost all of them have a similar or something, a component that is similar. And it's mostly men that I've talked to, okay? So, and I'm sure there are women that experience the same thing. You know what the similarity is? Adversity. The similarity is adversity. The similarity is tragedy. The similarity is despair. The similarity is discouragement. The similarity is I'm alone, I suck, I'm failing, it's all going to crash, and it's all because of me. The similarity then is, but wait, God still loves me. I'm told that his only begotten Son loves me regardless of how much I cock things up. Maybe I should go to him. There is a moment of humility there where a man realizes that I'm just a man. I'm not the creator, I'm the creature. And there is not much that I can do outside of what I've tried to do. So why don't I humble myself and go like, God, if you'll take me back or if you'll have me, how do I become a follower of you? How do I seek me first the kingdom of God? What do I do? I'm at the end. I need help. I need you, Lord. That's an act of humility. The psalmist, or as Biden would say, the psalmist tells us, Actually, the psalmist tells us, I forget which psalm it is. Beautiful psalm. It's a beautiful psalm. It's my favorite psalm. Tells us that fear of God, Timeo Dei, or Deo, is the beginning of humility. When you start to fear God more than you fear man, that's the beginning of, now you have truly reached the first plateau. Is that day like today a humbling day for Donald John Trump of Mar-a-Lago? I would think that it would be. We should all be seriously praying for President Trump. I don't care what the nomination you are. Keep him, and when I say prayers, I don't mean this, thoughts and prayers. I don't mean that bull crap sissy ass cliche from a bumper sticker that you spout out. I mean, seriously, in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now at the hour of our death, amen. Help President Trump. Bring him to the faith. Bring him to your son. And keep him and his family safe. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. We all just did it together. You see how easy that was? Mr. Church, please, no praying on air. Why not? Screaming doesn't work. Maggie, how well has screaming worked? Not so well. Maybe we should pray together. Hannah Arendt. Most people aren't going to know who Hannah Arendt is, and most people are going to go, no, I got Hannah Arendt. Guess where I got Hannah Arendt from? I already had her, but it made me think of her. Rob Schneider. Rob Schneider was quoting Hannah Arendt and her book, The Origins of Totalitarianism. Why? Well, let me read it to you. The operative phrase is show trials. Wait a minute. Did we just see one? Sure did. Okay, who was Hannah Arendt? She was a German philosopher that was looking back on, okay, well, how did the good people under Tsar Nicholas, the good Russian Orthodox people, how in the hell did they become murdering Bolsheviks? Doesn't happen overnight. Demoncrat, pederast, cult of death grooming has been in the United States since the 1950s. When you can be okay with having murdered 65 million babies and call it abortion, you're on your way to being a good Bolshevik. We're not there yet, although many of our fellow citizens are, and quite frankly, again, secede ought to be on the table. You ought to be talking to your governor, your state representative, and hey, don't call me a wacko or a kook. No. You should be prepared to secede. You should be prepared when the Biden regime fixes another one, even if Trump miraculously gets out of all this, and they manufacture 13 million votes to maintain power. The people of the United States need to be prepared to leave. Mordor, you're fired. The Constitution is a compact. I'm breaking the deal. There is nothing these people will not do, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, stop thinking that they have Christian values like you do. They don't. Hannah Arendt. This book deals with totalitarianism, its origins and its elements, whereas its aftermath in either Germany or Russia is pertinent to its considerations only insofar as it is likely to throw light on what happened before. Hence, not the period after Stalin's death, but rather the post-war era of his rule is of relevance in our context. And these 8 years, from 1945 to 1953, confirm and spin out. They don't either contradict or add new elements to what had been manifest since the mid-30s. The events that followed upon victory, the measures taken to reaffirm total domination after the temporary relaxation of the war period in the Soviet Union, as well as those by which totalitarian rule was introduced in the satellite countries, were all in accord with the rules of the game as we had come to know it. Very brilliant stuff there, but the rules of the game. Again, the Democrats changed the rule yesterday. The rule has been changed. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a pipsqueak. I used to have a massive audience. I have been reduced now to you wonderful people listening. Go be apostles of what I'm about to tell you. They changed the rule book yesterday. You can't appeal to the Constitution in effect and expect that it is going to bail you out. Not in the state of New York. No, you can't. You probably can't do it in California, New Jersey, Minnesota, Connecticut, Vermont, Washington State, Oregon. Let me throw Maryland, Delaware. What did I leave out? Maine. They changed the rule book yesterday. You're not playing on the Founding Fathers field, not that we were playing on it to begin with. They changed the damn rule book. Okay? They amended the Constitution. The parts in there about due process and all that, gone. Now, it is true that the appeals process, well, we still have the appeals process. They control it. Trump's only appeal, his first appeal is going to be the state of New York. Now, maybe he's going to be advised, don't do it. because they're in on it, dude. They're going to delay you, and they're going to say, we can't get you on the schedule. Sorry. That's what they're going to say. It's a very, very complicated, archaic process to get an appeal. What if he appeals? He goes like, "Screw it, we're going straight to the SCOTUS." What's the SCOTUS going to do? Well, if the SCOTUS were to repeat to 2020, they'll say no. Well, we ain't getting involved in an election. Now, maybe they would go like, if we don't, because they're coming after us. This may have been a mistake that the Demoncrats and their leftard, demonically inspired and possessed buddies in the Malachian satanic media, that's MSM, made. They might have gone too far in going after Justice Thomas and his wife and making thinly veiled threats against Amy Coney Barrett, and he mentioned making direct threats against Samuel Alito and sending nutcases to assassinate Brett Kavanaugh. They might have gone a little far, because the SCOTUS may go like, look, dude, screw the Constitution, self-preservation, baby. Yeah, we'll hear the appeal. They're human beings. They want to live too, just as much as you do. Demoncrats changed the rule book. Now, they want everyone in America to think that they did nothing of the sort, that all they did was uphold truth, justice, and the American way. This is the greatest day in history. We're peeing our pants. We're so happy. Why aren't you pissing yours? That's what that's their message. A lot of people are going to hear it. A lot of gullible people that have already been compromised. So pay attention to Hannah Arendt, because this is what happened. This is how they did it in Soviet Russia. The Bolshevization of the satellites started with Popular Front tactics and a sham parliamentary system. Sound familiar? Proceeded quickly to the open establishment of one-party dictatorships in which the leaders and members of the formerly tolerated parties, this is the Crusade Radio Network, formerly tolerated parties were liquidated. What does that mean, liquidated? Killed. Exterminated. And then reached the last stage when the native communist leaders, whom Moscow rightly or wrongly mistrusted, were brutally framed, humiliated in show trials, tortured and killed under the rulership of the most corrupt and most despicable elements in the party, namely those who were primarily not communists but agents of Moscow, not Democrats but agents of Mordor. Change the proper nouns, same story, just happened in Manhattan. No, oh, come on, TKD, you're just a little out there today. You're out there in the left field. Come on, man, let's reel you back in and get you back in the solar system. Men will do strange and evil things for power. Yep. We all know this. Am I the only one that watches movies? I just finished reading Bram Stoker's Dracula. You know what Dracula did to try to hold on to his power? Kill. And when he thought that he couldn't hold on to it, what did he do? Well, he hatched a plan to flee London under the guise of, all right, hey man, you guys won, I'm out. No, he was going back to Transylvania to go recharge the old Dracul batteries. And then he was going to, all right, you got me last time, you're not going to get me this time. He was going to come back to London with a vengeance and let the killing begin, because he knew all the tricks that were used to get rid of him the first go-around. People that aspire to that kind of power don't think like you and I think. Ladies and gentlemen, they don't have the kind of ethics that you have. They don't think like that. They're incapable of thinking like that. When they made the Crossroads deal and sold their souls to Beelzebub and the boys, they crossed the Rubicon. You can pray for them all you want. Their salvation is not on you. It's on them. Once they have become enemies, this idea that we're all supposed to lay down and become martyrs for them, not unless you directly come and tell me that I have to renounce the faith, well, then you're not a martyr. You're just stupid at that point. They're not asking you to renounce your faith. They're asking you to renounce your freaking flag. They're asking you to renounce your freedom under a supposedly system of liberty and justice. They may come around to the faith. It may come to the point where they get around to the faith, but that's not what they're doing right now. So don't feed me in his, we have to be meek and turn there. They're not trying to make you not be a Christian. They are not coming for your practice. You can still go to Mass today. You can go tomorrow. You can go to Sunday. You can go to church. You can go to Church of the King or wherever it is that you go. They haven't come for the churches yet. Now, they will ultimately because they have to get rid of God because they are God. But they haven't done it yet. So you're not a martyr. So drop the pretense that you have to turn the other cheek. No, that's just stupid. You turn the other cheek now, you're a dumbass, and your family's going to rue the day that you turn the cheek. So don't be stupid. Don't be lax and think that, no, this is going to pass. We're going to have an election. All's going to be well. We're going to restore. Man, dude, I don't know who thinks like that. Who would be naive enough at this point to believe it? But there are a lot of people, unfortunately, that are.
I was just going to say, we turned the other cheek when people said that we were killing grandma because we weren't using the little circle dots and wearing our mask. What did that get us? Where did that get us?
When we were killing grandma. Hannah Arendt, back to it. Hannah Arendt, the origins of totalitarianism. This is where we are. It was as though Moscow repeated in great haste all the stages of the October Revolution up to the emergence of totalitarian dictatorship. The story, therefore, while unspeakably horrible, is without much interest of its own and varies little. What happened in one satellite country happened at almost the same moment in all others, from the Baltic Sea to the Adriatic. Events differed in regions which were not included into the satellite system. The Baltic states were directly incorporated into the Soviet Union and fared considerably worse than the satellites. More than 500,000 people were deported from the three small countries, and an enormous influx of Russian settlers began to threaten the native populations with minority status in their own countries. Is this a newspaper article in the Washington Post today, or is this Hannah Arendt writing about what happened in Russia? Did you hear what I just read to you? You can get the book, Origins of Totalitarianism. This isn't a novel. She's not political. She's not philosophizing. She's telling you what happened. How did they do it? We've always called these people communists. Trump calls them communists. Why would you think that? There's nothing new under the sun, folks. By the way, demons are lazy. Being a saint is hard. Being a demon is easy. Being virtuous man is hard. Trust me, I work at it. I'm sure many of you do. Most of you. I want to thank all of you. Being a sinner is a piece of cake. Takes no effort whatsoever. Oh, I think I was going to do it. No, I'm going to do this. You know, I could do this. That's somewhat easy. I'm just going to do this. I'm not going to worry about it. I was blown away when I read this morning. East Germany, on the other hand, is only now, after the erection of the Berlin Wall, slowly being incorporated into the satellite system, having been treated before rather as occupied territory with the Quisling movement. In our context, developments in the Soviet Union, especially after 1948, the year of Zhdanov's mysterious death and the Leningrad affair are of greater importance. For the first time after the Great Purge, Stalin had a great number of high and highest officials executed. Now, I think that this, if you're a leftard, you better watch cheering what Biden and her have just achieved. Oh, it's Trump in there today. Yeah, they take out the big guy, and then they go for the rest of them. And if you're not a useful enough idiot, dude, they will take you out too. Here, you want to hear some gloating on this? Here. I was going to play Rick Madkel, but if you want the book, If you want the book, you can get it at one of my favorite websites, archive.org. Go to archive.org because somebody's going, Kine. You're gonna have to get your own. We're very busy today. You're gonna have to be big boy and girl Googlers. Archive.gov. Type in Hannah Arendt. Go. And boom.
Rachel Maddow has joined the set. I'm going to make sure.
Wrong clip?
No, I have you in the background.
Okay. There we go.
You wired in? You ready to go?
I'm wired in. I've got no computer.
Oh, they're so happy.
A lot of thoughts.
Okay, tell me. What do you
well,
think?
I mean, this is an important moment, and we don't know yet, and we're about to know. But I just think for those of us who've had the privilege of covering this story, this moment before the verdict gets here is important. Just take a breath, right?
Yeah.
We are a democracy. This is a government of, by, and for the people, and that means that everybody is subject to the rule of law, and we are about to see that in action. And whatever these jurors decided, they are peers of Donald Trump as citizens, and they have followed an impeccable process. And if there's anything that isn't impeccable about this process, he will have full access as a defendant to the appeals process. And this is a moment of sort of democratic reset, small d democratic reset for us as a country. Accountability is happening here because we are a democracy and because the rule of law applies to all of us. And as a defendant, he has benefited from the protections that all defendants have. And this is a sober thing. Some people will dance in the streets no matter what this ruling is on one side or the other. Those of us in the press covering this will not, no matter what it is. We have the responsibility to cover this fairly, but I think we also have the responsibility as citizens to just realize the gravity of this moment.
Well, I must say that she gets really giddy after this, but I must say that that was probably the most humble and humane thing the fake woman who is Rick Madcow has ever said. Consider that, though, the gravity of this. At least she kind of understands the whirlwind she is literally about to unleash, folks. Again, they changed the rule. And by the way, this was not an I watch this every day. I watch all 19 days of that trial, every single one of them. Now, I wasn't in the courtroom, but I was reading the transcripts of what was going on. There was nothing impeccable about it, unless you think it is incumbent upon the state to achieve a victory. You know, you have to consider what is actually going on here, and that is the state is acting supposedly as a protectoress of the citizenry of the people. Well, who was protected from what by what happened? We'll tell you when we come back. Don't go away.
The Crusade Channel, your news talk at Art Bell Station. UFOs, Bigfoot, and ghost-busting conspiracy theory radio begins. Weeknights, Art Bell and the Graveyard Shift. Midnight East, 9 West on CrusadeChannel.com.
In the beginning, there was beer, and man saw that beer was good. And man said,
wouldn't 6 of these packaged together be even better?
Then man created the 6-pack and saw that it was good. Next, man invented the cigar, and man saw that the cigar was good. And man said,
let's pack them up in boxes of 25.
Then man... 25? What was wrong with 6?
Announcing an idea whose time has come. MB Fuma Off the Boat Cigars. Now in 6-pack and 4-pack samplers. Right alongside Manchupi and Maria's cigars in singles and 4-pack samplers. On sale now at shopmikechurch.com. That's shopmikechurch.com. And this is supposed to be a 60-second tight spot, so one more time, shopmikechurch.com.
Listen up, maggots! Every time you buy a book at Scamazon, Jeff Bezos gets money to add to his army of Terminator robots. Now you tell me, what kind of patriot does that? Certainly not the kind that listens to the My Church Show! You want to see the world now, don't you?
Come with me if you want to read.
That's why you're going to shop for books in the Founders Trading Post store at shop.mychurch.com. Be a hero, save the free world, and as for Bezos, put him in the chopper.
You're listening to the Crusade Channel, a Black Hat Studios media property, broadcasting live 24/7 from Madisonville, Louisiana, and to the world via crusadechannel.com.
Crusade Channel News. News you can trust. Because the truth can be trusted. From the Crusade Channel News Desk, here's Janet Huxley.
Good morning, Crusaders. Welcome to Friday, May the 31st, 2024. I'm Janet Huxley, reporting for the Crusade Radio Network News Desk, live from the Dothan Ranch and Farm south of Kansas City, Missouri. This report is brought to you by Cookin' with the King Dude Meat Rubs. Try a bag of beast and butt rub for pork and Acadiana steak rub and seasoning, a taste of Louisiana for American beef. Our rubs feature competition quality with home-cooked convenience and are created by Mike Church. Available at mikechurch.com/rubs. Here's what to listen for this hour. Another shameful day in Amerizuela history as jury convicts Trump on all 34 counts in New York trial. House Speaker Mike Johnson speaks out on the conviction. The FAA investigates a second near collision at Reagan, Washington. And feeding peanuts to babies could prevent allergies throughout the teen years, according to another study. Jurors in President Donald Trump's New York trial returned a guilty verdict on all 34 counts at the end of the second day of deliberations. Each count carries a maximum prison sentence of 4 years. In total, that means Trump faces a maximum sentence of 136 years. President Donald Trump's son, Don Jr., had plenty to say on his Rumble podcast channel, Triggered, last night, responding to near exhaustion for over 2 hours. He said his father plans to hold a press conference today at 11 from Trump Tower. In the meantime, he encouraged Americans to stand strong and get involved, from donating to or volunteering for President Donald Trump's campaign. He also encouraged the strong of mind and body to sign up as poll workers in order to thwart more fraud in the upcoming election. Trump, for his part, says this is merely weaponization and he won't give up. Most decent Americans are now praying they will be able to see the people who did this with handcuffs on themselves. We must pray God turns the tables. Meanwhile, House Speaker Mike Johnson spoke out about Trump's conviction, saying today is a shameful day in American history. Democrats cheered as they convicted the leader of the opposing party on ridiculous charges predicated on the testimony of a disbarred convicted felon. This was purely political exercise, not a legal one. The weaponization of our justice system has been a hallmark of the Biden administration, and the decision today is further evidence Democrats will stop at nothing to silence dissent and crush their political opponents. The American people see this as lawfare, and they know it is wrong and dangerous. President Trump will rightfully appeal this absurd verdict, and he will win. Trump's team has 30 days to file a notice of appeal with New York's appellate division. The FAA is investigating another near miss at Reagan Washington National after 2 commercial jets almost collided on a runway on May the 29th, the second incident of its kind at the airport in just 2 months. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News.
You don't have to wake up at midnight and 3 a.m. to live like a brother at an Abbey when you start your day with Abbey Roast Coffee, now in 6 blends. Take advantage of flat rate shipping and shop for Abbey Roast today at shop.mikechurch.com.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-245-8178. 800-245-8178. That's 800-245-8178.
Our saint of the day is Saint Petronilla, who is believed to have been the daughter of Saint Peter. Until the 17th century, she was called his physical daughter, and since then she has been thought a spiritual daughter who is consecrated to his service. But legends say Peter cured her of a palsy, and stories found in the writings of St. Marcellus and retold in the Golden Legend say that Peter, who thought his daughter too beautiful, asked God to afflict her with a fever, of which he refused to cure her until she began to be perfected in the love of God. She is said to have refused Count Flaccus's hand in marriage, and traditions say she died a natural death, but accounts of her martyrdom can be found. During the papacy of Siricius in the late 4th century, a basilica was built on the site of her tomb, and in the 8th century, Gregory III established a place of public prayer in the basilica, and her relics were translated to St. Peter's, where a chapel was dedicated in her honor. Charlemagne in 814 and Carloman in 771 were considered adopted sons of St. Peter, and they, along with the French monarchs who succeeded them, considered Petronilla their sister. Her chapel became the Chapel of the Kings of France, and her emblem, like that of St. Peter, is a set of keys. Feeding peanut butter to babies starting in infancy and continuing through the age of 5 has been shown effective in reducing allergies into adolescence, according to a new study by King's College London. It's not the first of its kind. The LEAP Trio study, published on Tuesday in NEJM Evidence, showed children who consumed peanuts early in life were 71% less likely to develop peanut allergies all the way up to the age of 13. The National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases sponsored and co-funded both studies. Stay tuned to the Crusade Radio Network with live breaking news updates all day. The best live talk radio anywhere. And up next, media the way it should be. I'm Janet Huxley for the Crusade Radio Network, seeking news and finding truth.
The Crusade Channel, your news, talk, and parrot talk station. Mike Parrot Talks gets very fired up and even teaches from the middle of America, middays, 11 a.m. noon Eastern on CrusadeChannel.com.
For the last time, I'm pretty sure what's killing the crops is this Brondo stuff.
The Brondo's got what plants crave. It's got electrolytes.
So wait a minute. What you're saying is that you want us to put water on the crops?
Yes.
Water? Like out the toilet?
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be out of the toilet, but yeah, that's the idea.
But Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
Okay, look, the plants aren't growing. So I'm pretty sure that the Brondo's not working. Now, I'm no botanist, but I do know that if you put water on plants, they grow.
Well, I've never seen no plants grow out of no toilet.
Hey, that's good. You sure you ain't the smartest guy in the world?
Yeah.
Okay, look, you want to solve this problem. I want to get my pardon, so why don't we just try it, okay? And not worry about what plants crave.
Brondo's got what plants crave.
Yeah, it's got electrolytes.
What are electrolytes? Do you even know?
It's what they use to make Brondo.
Yeah, but why did they use them to make Brondo?
Because Brondo's got electrolytes.
You know, it's popular out there now amongst Demoncrats that, this was the real trial with the verdict and with a jury of it like peers and stuff. So you have to accept it, respect it and stuff because it happened in a real courtroom and stuff. And he's guilty. So you must respect the verdict. No, I don't. Well, tell me what I have to respect. You can poop in this hand and want in that one. I don't care. I'm down with cat turd. Speaking of pooping in hands. Greetings to you. Welcome back. It's the final hour, the fastest 3 hours in all of broadcast media. The Mike Church Show here is on a Free Phone Friday. Of course, since it's Free Phone Friday, you know what that means.
Oh, and remember, Friday is Hawaiian Shirt Day. So, if you want to, go ahead and wear a Hawaiian shirt and jeans.
Friday.
It's Free Phone. It's Free Phone.
Yes, it is a Free Phone you're charged with the task of picking from the cornucopia of topics we have discussed this week and call about any of them. Let me give you a telephone number, so make us a phone call. 844-527-8723, 8445 Crusade. Email address, same as it ever has been. I am King Dude at ProtonMail.com, welcoming all of you watching out there on the Crusade Radio Network YouTube stream. I guess we're going to have to grow this thing organically because appealing to other people's YouTube streamers is just not working out. So if you are finding yourself on the Crusade Radio Network stream, could you do a brother and a couple of sisters and a couple other brothers a favor? And hit that little subscribe button down there. Get the thumbs up. But hit the subscribe button. It really would mean the world to us, and it would have you on record as saying, like, yeah, I hate the Malachian satanic media. So much so that I supported their replacement, the Crusade Radio Network. So subscribe to the Crusade Radio Network on YouTube, and thank you much in advance. Those of you on Twitter, same deal, dude. Become a follower. Follow me on Twitter, first of all. Tell all your friends to do so, and then you go over to the YouTube channel. And even if you never intend to go back, all right, dude, you got me. I'll do it for you. Subscribe, Crusade Radio Network on YouTube. We have a lot to get to here and a very little bit of time to do it. Yes, I'm going to go to the telephone's greatest radio producer in the history of radio producers. Before we do that, because I want people to hear this, play digital media file number 11. This is Trump's attorney, Todd Blanche. Blanche was the guy that you saw every day when Trump did the impromptu press conferences before going into the courtroom. The dude that was always standing off to his and behind his left shoulder with the grim look on his face because he understands the gravity of what they were trying to do to his client, okay? I think this is the most profoundly precise, accurate, and humane summary of what has happened and to who.
You believe Donald Trump's constitutional rights were violated?
In many ways, yes.
How so?
Well, if you look at, for example, the gag order that was put in place, and you had a situation where President Trump, who's on the campaign trail and is trying to compete with voices that are saying things every day that he cannot respond to without the risk of being fined, which he was, or going to prison for violating it. That affects not only President Trump, that affects every voter, whether they're going to vote for President Trump or against President Trump. That affects every single voter in this country because they don't get to hear from the candidate. We very much disagreed with that order. We appealed that as well. There was a lot about what happened over the past year that, I sit here tonight, the verdict just came down today, but really there's a lot that's happened over the past year that I think that Americans should look very hard at. Just the whole way this case was charged. The district attorney says that this type of case is a bread and butter, that they do these cases all the time. That is not true. It's just not true. This is a case that the records of President Trump's personal records, his personal checkbook from 2017, is what he was on trial for. That does not happen all the time. It doesn't happen all the time in Manhattan, and it doesn't have to happen all the time in any jurisdiction in this country. And that's fine. That's fine if you want to indict somebody and go after somebody for conduct that happened in 2017. But I think where it becomes problematic for me as a lawyer is don't look me in the eye and says, this is bread and butter. We do this.
I meant 12. 11's good, but 12 is the one where you get the what happened and to who. Here you go.
Did your client get a fair trial?
Because this is a summary.
I mean, no, I don't think so. I mean, we've been saying for over a year that we couldn't get a fair trial in Manhattan. We couldn't get a fair trial with the judge, and it played out in lots of ways exactly as we expected. I'm not going to criticize the judge right now. I think that there were a lot of decisions that he made leading up to the trial, which really hurt us at trial, that we very much disagree with. They're part of the public record. Our system of justice requires not only the that a judge that is actually biased recuse himself, but that a judge that even has the appearance of bias to recuse himself. And our papers are public. We felt very strongly that there was an actual bias that this judge had. And even if not an actual bias, that there was certainly a perception of bias. President Trump is an amazing man.
There you go.
He's president, he's running for president, and he has a public persona. He's also a husband, a father, a grandfather, and a friend to a lot of people. And so when you see that happen to him, and I was standing right next to him today, and it's heartbreaking because they're laughing at a man, at a father, at a husband, at a grandfather, and at somebody who's running for president and looks like will win. That's something that people should be troubled with, no matter who you're going to vote for.
Husband, father, grandfather, friend, businessman, candidate. Perfectly sums up. Go ahead and laugh. Spike the head in the end zone, pull a Kathy Griffin, cut it off, piss on it. Do whatever you want, leftards. Stalin didn't spare many of you either. So all you got to do is just look the wrong way when these people take power, and then you become a suspect. Pray it doesn't happen. Let's go to the phones. 844-527-8723. Kurt. First up here today on the Mike Church Show on the Crusade Radio Network. Kurt, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Mike. How are you?
I am well, and I see that you want to talk about Hannah Arendt and the Bolsheviks.
Well, this is Kurt Wallace.
Kurt.
And, hey, buddy. Well, I want to give a little context. If you can give me a moment, I want to give a little context and then make my point in the parallels between what happened during the Bolshevik Revolution and what's happening now.
Okay.
And some of the in-your-face parallels that are so eerie for somebody like me. And to give you context, I'm first-generation Russian-American. My family came here in 1950 during the Red Scare,
okay,
which is one of the worst periods of a Russian family could come to the United States because of McCarthyism. They entered the United States through Ellis Island and signed their names. We have pictures of that. My family was the 13th family in the line behind the Romanovs. Our family is in the history books. As a matter of fact, the Prime Minister a number of years ago of Ukraine adopted his wife's name, which is our family name.
Okay.
Azarova. And my grandfather saw a majority of his family slaughtered by the Bolsheviks and the Leninist uprising. And he was put in a Siberian gulag for 9 years, and he survived. And when he was released, he had, because they still had wealth and they still had some insight, he had a warning system set up, and at that time, if you got a knock at the door, you disappeared and you were killed. Stalin was a paranoid, dictator.
Yep.
And he was murdering his political opponents. At that point, it was not as soft as putting somebody in a gulag and seeing if they could survive it. Which, my grandfather, when he went in, there were 400 men that went in at that time, and he was one of 50 that was still alive at the time that he got out, which is miraculous because of the lack of treatment and care.
Okay.
So just to kind of that gives you a little context. They came to the United States. I was born. I have 4 siblings, and so what has occurred since then? Now, both my uncle, my grandfather also saw his son die by a bomb. My brother took my uncle's name, and both my father and my uncle, who survived, served in the United States military, because that was required in our family to do that, because it was important to my grandfather that we have that in our family. And so here's today, the parallels, just to give you a sense. On symbolism, the BLM fist is the same fist that was used by the Soviet Union. Okay, that same Marxist movement.
Yes, that part I knew.
All right, and what we're seeing play out right now is kind of the later middle stages, mid to late stages of a cultural revolution. A lot of it is identity politics, all of the things that we've seen leading up to this point. Now, in real time, what we have is an effort to pass the Disgraced Act. Okay, now Trump's going to go to prison. There's no question about that. The Disgraced Act will remove Secret Service protection. Okay.
Okay, so this is that little slimeball snake Raskins doing the Disgraced Act.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so this is not going to go in a sweet direction. This whole movement is designed, and it's not going to stop. This will not stop in this country. We have the tipping point has happened, and I'm not sure what to do. I called my brother, and we talked about it.
Crusade Radio Network. Thank you. Yeah, continue, please.
Yeah, and I called my brother yesterday, and we talked about this. He's very optimistic. He said this is going to get Trump elected, but what we're saying is...
But you're the libertarian voice of the family. I know you for 15 years, so you're the Lou Rockwell. I wonder what a really smart guy like Jeffrey Tucker thinks about this.
Well, this is just, Jeffrey Tucker's been tweeting about this, and, tweeting's not enough at this point.
No, you and I are in complete, and you and I talked about this 2 weeks ago. You and I are in complete agreement with this. I said this in the opening monologue. Dude, if you think you can tweet your way out of this, you're wrong. As a matter of fact, you're probably doing more damage than you are good, because you're just giving them ammo. So when they decide that it's your turn who did you write that check to, Mike? Mr. Church, what did you record that check as in your ledger or whatever
That's right.
it is?
Yeah,
Right.
and Tucker said basically he's alluding to, if you think this is the worst, you should see what's really going on. And the deeper that this goes, the worse the scarier it is. And so the deep state, and it is at this point. I'm highly concerned. I mean, and I'm not going to let what happened to my grandfather happen to me and my family. I can tell you that right now. People are stockpiling gold, silver. That's great, but you should also prepare to protect yourself. And it's a dangerous position for us to be in.
It's interesting. My colleague Richard Barrett is on the line. He's going to be on next, and he and I talked about this as the verdict was being read yesterday. And I think you were listening. And Richard's a prepper, and we're talking about, dude, don't be going out there and wishing for these certain things to happen if you're not prepared. Every Walmart in the United States, most people don't know this, every Walmart in the United States has a 2.5-day supply for their service area. That's all they have. You start doing supply chain interruptions, or if they decide that they're going to start really interrupting supply chains, you're not going to be able to go to Walmart and get your victuals and the things you need to survive. You have to be very careful about what you wish for here. And you're right, Kurt. You should prepare as though this is the beginning. It's possible that there's a color revolution here. Like my sweet little young colleague, Magdalene Rose, who's wise beyond her years, said yesterday when when the verdict came down, she goes, I said, what did you think, Magdalene? And she said, well, here's my first thought. It's one thing to wish for and to plan and agitate for and to threaten a revolution. Now that they've actually done it, they have to live with the consequences of it. Right? You don't want to live in a country where there's a revolution going on. People die. Lots of people die. So
here's some actions that I think need to be taken.
Okay.
Right away, every Republican DA or conservative DA or sensible DA, Democrat, doesn't matter, needs to go out and prosecute every politician that's obviously been corrupted in the Democrat Party and the Republican Party. Go after all of them. Show that, just make people sick with lawfare. It's sort of the premise of, if your kid smokes a cigarette, make them smoke the entire pack in front of you right now and make them really sick and give them a taste of what it's like.
Okay, so let me read to you from Anthony Sabatini, who's running for Congress. I don't know Mr. Sabatini. I know of him. I don't know him. But John Daniel Davidson has a piece at thefederalist.com, Kurt, that pretty much echoes what you're saying. I think that Sean Davis was on to it and go like, I don't want to hear your campaign slogans, dude. I want to know how many Democrats you're going to lock up. Anthony Sabatini, quote, I'm running for Congress to imprison as many Democrats as possible. Vote for me if you believe Democrats are the enemy and must be jailed and removed from public life. I say yes. Find them and imprison them. Now, you got to be careful with this because you don't want to be running around imprisoning people that don't merit it. But there are enough of them that have conspired and have actually acted upon grooming our children, subjecting our children to being removed from their parents and having genitalia actually mutilated or removed, have enlisted now every crooked and corrupt medical institution in the United States. I think doctors ought to be prosecuted for violating Hippocratic oaths. If you're a doctor and you cut the body parts of a teenager off, you're next. Look, if the response isn't going to be equal to the initiative, let's use a military term, that the Demoncrats have used, you're going to lose. And you're right. Your grandparents saw it, Kurt. They don't take him, especially when you have a paranoid. Biden is paranoid. Merrick Garland is they're all paranoid. You mix paranoia with power, you know what you get? Dead people. So, I did not know the Azeroth. I knew that that was your given Russian name. And, you know, there's a series on Netflix right now about the Romanovs.
Yeah, and our family has our family saber is in the Smithsonian Institute. I'm legit, direct.
Hey, bro, I've known you for 15 years. I never doubted that you were legit.
My grandfather died when I was 5.
I didn't know this part of the story, though. Look, I'm going to get cut off with the time. So, look, I want to do this. I want to interview you for a church doctrine episode because I want you to tell me this whole story slowly.
Okay.
And I want you to call back anytime you want to comment on this because you got a family right. You came here to escape this, and look what happened. I might say, damn it, Wallace, you brought it with you. But
Mike, thanks for what you do. You're the hardest working man in radio. I appreciate you taking my call.
Okay, brother. God bless you. And we will talk soon, very soon. All right. That's my old buddy, Kurt Walsh. You know, he used to have a show here on the Crusade Radio Network called The Flow, and I didn't know about the Azrael. Richard, I'm sorry that I couldn't get to you, but we're going to get to Mr. Barrett at top of the next segment here on the Mike Church Show. 844-527-8723. It is, though, I think, a very, we are blessed that people are still alive that can tell the story that their grandparents told them from when they escaped this in the Soviet Union and what it looked like. And to actually hear gives me a chill when he said they're doing what they did in Russia. So, folks, take it to heart. It's real.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Radio Network News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Friday, May the 31st, 2024. This report is brought to you by Cooking with the King Dude Meat Rubs. Try a bag of beast and butt rub for pork and Acadiana steak rub and seasoning. A taste of Louisiana for American beef. Our rubs feature competition quality with home-cooked convenience and are created by Mike Church. Available at mikechurch.com/rubs. In the market report, all three major indexes fell. The last close, the Dow was down 0.86% and the S&P 0.60. NASDAQ also dropped 1.08%. In National Calendar Day news today is National Utah Day, celebrating the 45th state, or the Beehive State, to join the Union, which happened on January 4th, 1896. It's home, as you know, to the Great Salt Lake. I like the next one. It's National Smile Day, so keep that smile on your face today. It's also National Macaroon Day. It's Complete Sentences Day, so you're supposed to speak in complete sentences today. It's also National Autonomous Vehicle Day, celebrating driving cars and all of those things of the future, and also Fasciitis Awareness Day. Our quote of the day: "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." Martin Luther King. And our saint of the day, Saint Petronilla. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News. Did you know it took centuries to develop the Hail Mary prayer? First, the monastics began adding, "Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you," to the end of their psalm readings. Later, "Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus," was added. And by the 15th century, the Hail Mary was complete and took the place of the 150 Our Fathers many prayed daily. Today, the work of art that is the Rosary is cherished by millions, and there is no finer maker of this art than Maggie O'Connell's Little Bayou Rosary. Find her rosary creations today at shop.mikechurch.com.
Hi, it's Mike Church.
And I'm Mike Parrott.
Almost every American schoolchild can tell you what 3 rights are in the Declaration of Independence. That among these are
life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But their civics knowledge ends there, and that's a problem. That's why I'm proud to have participated in one effort that I hope addresses this issue, the Covington Compact.
That's right, Mike. You can see the compact at crusadechannel.com/compact.
Strike a blow for New Christendom. Read, sign, and distribute the Covington Compact today at crusadechannel.com/compact.
If you're on a quest to make the perfect steak, then you need the perfect steak seasoning for that. And my Acadiana steak seasoning is the perfect choice because unlike many off-the-shelf rubs, Acadiana is nearly salt-free, so you control the quantity of salt to your taste. For steaks, I like to use a healthy dose of very coarse grind kosher salt, and I heavily season both sides to make a blackened sear. Acadiana is also great on seafood and veggies too. Pick up a bag or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com.
Mike Church Show fun fact number 1316. Snowflakes used to be things that fell from the sky, like fairies. Now they are fairies.
2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3.
Well, you can tell by the way I use my walk. I'm a woman's man, no time to talk. Music loud, women warm. I've been kicked around since I was born. I never tolerate, that's okay. And you may look the other way, but we can try to understand. And do your time, don't make no man. Whether you're a brother or whether you're a mother, you're staying alive, staying alive.
Staying alive in too much heaven. This is the Crusade Radio Network and the Mike Church Show here. Your home for the 2024 Golden Truth Ticket Kia Sportage EX giveaway. We'll start giving Golden Trooper tickets out on Monday, right here on the Crusade Radio Network. Got to tune in Monday morning early to the first hour of the program to get the soundbite of the day. Then when you hear it play back later on, you be the appropriate number caller that Maggie O'Connell says you must be. And then you win a Golden Truth ticket, 1 ticket per family now. And you can buy extra tickets. I'm going to give you the URLs. The checkout process is so simple and so easy and so clean this year. We've also made it possible so that if you want to just go directly, I just want to give tickets to the St. Benedict Center, for example. We have your favorite charities listed on the page. Click that link, and it's a ticket for them. You don't have to fill anything out. It's already done for you. So upgrading the game this year. Hope that all of you, well, just take the 1 in 1,000 chance, and you're benefiting the Crusade Radio Network and the Crusade Radio Guild, our nonprofit, which is dedicated. Our mission to grow live talk radio, to preserve, protect, and defend live talk radio. That's our mission. Join the Crusade Radio Guild today. Play the Golden Truth ticket game. You might win a 2024 Kia. No BS. We've already given 4 away in previous years. All the action begins on Monday right here on the Crusade Radio Network. Let us go to the Dude Maker Hotline and speak to the aforementioned Richard Barrett, host of the Barrett Brief Weekend Edition, the Armed Catholic. He's got a new book coming out this summer, in August, I believe, all about defending yourself as a Catholic, or I'm sure it applies to Christians as well. Richard was with us yesterday afternoon. As Richard said yesterday, be very cautious of the King Dude and Richard Barrett being on air at the same time when a calamity can strike. Because our traumas together, we suffered and endured, and we didn't know what was going to happen. The trauma of the roof, Notre Dame de Paris burning down on air for 4 hours with that day. We suffered and endured the trauma of the November 2020 election night coverage and all that happened then. We suffered and endured the trauma of the anniversary of the Feast of the Epiphany with people taking selfies on air. And then yesterday, we suffered and endured the drama of President Trump being convicted in a kangaroo court on 34 charges. So
you're saying we're due a win?
Well, okay, Maggie just said, Richard, we're due a win.
Yeah, eventually, yes. I mean, we win in the end, right? We win in the end, no matter what. So, just more things for us to put in the coffer for offering up. And so, yeah, anytime the two of us get together, that means something bad is not happening somewhere. So
not today, though.
There you go. Not today.
Not today.
No, this is a post-mortem of what already happened. So.
Yes. I thought that Kurt Azaroff's, Kurt Wallace is an Americanized name. I thought that his commentary was spot on and timely about prepare yourself. He basically was saying his grandparents escaped Soviet Russia, which I didn't know. And they escaped what's happening, and show trials are a big part of the Stalinist agenda. And if you go start reading back through that book of Origins of Totalitarianism and Hannah Arendt, you'll be shocked at the parallels of what happened in Soviet Russia and what's happening here today. You and I talked briefly yesterday about preparing and being prepared, and I think it's good advice.
Yep, it is. I mean, before the Industrial Revolution, before we became slaves to technology, it was kind of built into our, we were designed by God to be self-sufficient with our own little gardens in the front yards, and, or if you wanted to extrapolate that into a small town, everybody had their little role and job, butcher, metal workers, supposedly. So the idea of reverting back to that factory setting, if you even want to put it that way, is the natural course in the face of such tyrannical overreach, in the face of such blatant disregard for human decency and for just overall human society and their lust for power. The only way they have power is if they're allowed to control you. Number one way they can do that is food. So that's why the preppers' first thing is, obviously besides guns and ammo, is food. Right? Beans, bullets, and Band-Aids. The beans is just a substitute for food in general. If they can't control your food, it's going to be hard for them to control you.
Well, and this is what they did to the people of Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
In the 1930s, people don't know this story. I've encouraged people for 5 years now. If you're looking for a film to watch that will explain some of the worst of this, God forbid it should ever happen here, watch the 2019 film, Mr. Jones. And it's really a biopic about a reporter that worked for the New York Times, and because he was trying to get to the bottom of what was really going on in Stalinist Russia, and he was trying to do it from his desk in New York City, his editor was like, all right, look, just get out of it. Go to freaking Russia, dude. Go see if you can get an interview with Stalin. You're going to find out that he's a good guy. He's on the up and up here, and you're wrong. So Mr. Jones goes to Moscow. Have you seen the film?
I have not. I know. I remember you talking about it a lot. I never got around to actually watching.
Well, I think you'd give it 4 briefcases. This is a gritty, disgusting, vile situation that is disgustingly vile on film. It is not treated with kid gloves. He goes to try and meet the guy, the contact who's going to introduce him to Stalin, and he goes into a brothel where man-on-man sex is happening all around him. It's awful. Then he finally makes his way, gets passage into Ukraine, and he cannot believe what he sees Soviet soldiers doing. And then he meets the people that have been the victims of Stalin's war against them, where they have taken Stalin has stolen their grain, stolen their food, which killed their livestock and starved them to death. And this is shown in Mr. Jones in the most grisly, gut-wrenching fashion. I don't hold anything against the filmmakers. The guy that made the film said, I wanted to show what it looked like when it really happened to those people. Now,
as long as it's not glorifying it, there's never a problem with showing it.
Yes.
The truth has to be revealed. If the problem is when a grubby little director or producer gets their hands on it and they turn it into a glorification vehicle. So, yeah, absolutely.
No, this is not a glorification vehicle. Now, let's talk a little bit more about what we talked about yesterday. Let me read you a tweet that you're not going to believe the source of, okay? Quote, red state DAs need to arrest corrupt Democrats and prosecute them in front of Republican juries that already hate them before the trial even begins. I'm not saying we should stoop to the left's level. I'm saying we should stop pretending that we live in a country that no longer exists. Close quote. You know who said that?
No.
Matt Walsh. The Ben father let one get out here.
Well, yeah.
That is not that doesn't seem to me to be in Matt Walsh's wheelhouse. I was reading earlier from Sean Davis, and Sean Davis saying, "I don't care what your platform is, Congressman. I don't even care that you don't even publish it. All I want to know is how many Democrats you intend to imprison."
Yeah, and the thing is, Republicans are losers. They've always been losers. They always will be losers because, you've had 3 non-state judicial systems, at least, New York and Georgia among them. They have nothing to do with the feds. They've just made these charges up out of nowhere and have gone after a sitting president. West Virginia, Texas, Louisiana, Florida, all these super pro-red states. Where are your attorney generals? Where's the attorney general wants to make a name for himself and puts it out after Hunter Biden, or puts it out after any of these people, or Hillary. Well, I know why not Hillary. They don't want to die, but why not any of the other just laundry list of Democrats that have committed crimes in the open? Why doesn't somebody go after Nancy Pelosi for illegal stock trading, or Sheldon Whitehouse for insider stock trading? Right? Why don't we put these people to the task as well? We don't, because conservatives are naturally law-abiding citizens who have it built into them, the faith in the system, that, you know, all we got to do is get Trump back in there and everything's going to be fine, when everything hasn't been fine in a long time. And the reason why Trump got elected in the first place is because everything isn't fine. So the fact of the matter is that Republicans are still sitting on their hands. And the problem, another problem on top of the first problem, is that the establishment, the Arizona Republicans, as I call them, the John McCain, George W. Bush Republicans, who still, you know, or as a lot of you would know in the audience, they're called the Country Club Republicans. They're fine with everything because they're still getting paid. They're still living in their gated communities, and everything could burn to the ground, and they'll be okay. So that's why they're fine with the status quo, and they are just like they did with the Tea Party, right? The Tea Party kind of came up and they squashed that.
And by the way, Richard, they were terrified. The Demoncrats were Schumer gave like a 20-minute monologue on the floor of the Senate. They were horrified of the Tea Party.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that was the first time you actually had a populist movement, and it was kind of in conjunction. I know people kind of dump on Occupy Wall Street, but Occupy Wall Street and the Tea Party were very similar, and there were efforts made to separate the two, because if they joined, you would have had more of a MAGA movement before MAGA. But yeah, that's, you know, the uniparty, the Democrats and Republicans are doing everything they can to put their foot down on populist movements. And so that's why you're not seeing ADs or, you know, lawyers or prosecutors from red states going after anybody from the Democratic Party, because they're told you sit down and you shut up, or you're not getting the money to get reelected.
Okay.
Well, on the other side, if they say if you don't go after Trump, you're not getting the money to get reelected.
That's right. Richard Barrett hosted the Barrett Brief Weekend Edition, and a color commentator and political analyst here. See, I just promoted you live in real time. He's a Crusade Radio Network analyst. There you go. You got a Fox News title now. So I want to ask you a question about something you just said, because you triggered a little, it was a good thought starter in me. Would you say then, has the average MAGA American's faith in the system now, has it been jilted and it's not reparable?
You would, my opinion, you would hope.
Okay.
You would hope it would. The underlying problem with that, or issue with that, or thing to look for, is how quickly can the uniparty make things go back to a level of normal, as the amazing one Mark Cressman used to say. How quickly can they get the cinemas open and the Olive Gardens running again?
You remember
because
that,
as soon
right?
as that happens, as long as you can get to the Olive Garden and the Regal Cinema, most of the population will be pacified.
Well, the enemy took the cinema out, and so the Olive Gardenians, as we used to call them. Olive Gardenians are not nearly as powerful as they once were. Okay, so let me restate the question. Has the average MAGA Americans then faith in the system been shaken to the point where does he now know that voting Hope and Copen ain't going to cut it, and that tweeting and social media and hanging out with cat turd, that ain't going to cut it either? You know what needs to happen? Tea parties. Actual, literal tea parties. Find things that these people own, that they rely on, and shut them down. Civil disobedience. They went after your president, ladies and gentlemen. They intend to put him in a jail cell, okay? I don't think this is Marjorie Taylor Greene actually said this on her Twitter. She goes, I don't think that people realize the gravity of what has happened. Here, let me read to you John Daniel Davison, TheFederalist.com. If the Republican Party is going to be anything other than controlled opposition for Demoncrats, fiddling while the Republic burns, it needs to purge its ranks of snakes like McConnell and elevate those who aren't afraid of playing by Demoncrats' rules. A good way to separate the two groups would be to start asking Republican office holders and candidates whether they be willing to bring criminal charges against high-ranking Democrats and, if they can, imprison them. That's the world Democrats have called into being with this trial. They are the ones who have no quarter in this fight, and the least Republicans do at this point is accept their terms and enter the fight on equal footing. I mean, look, they walked up to all of us, slapped us in the face, and going like, "F you! What are you going to do about it? We're going to throw your boy in jail." You know, and the fact, and Kurt Wallace brought this up with this. What did he call the act? The Decertify Act. It's the I know it's Raskin's doing, but basically, if it were to pass, then they would apply it to President Trump, and that would remove his Secret Service protection. Now, why would they want to do that? So they can kill him?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's absolutely right. The level of and the level of effort that's being put into one man is astounding. Because all you're going to do with every single time you put one more rock on top of him, you're just making him more of a martyr. And to the people that believe, who are into the MAGA ideology, for lack of a better term, all you're doing is crystallizing it. Maybe they want that crystallized so it's easier to find their political opponents so they can tell them to turn and face the wall. Maybe that's the plan. Maybe it's not for any kind of reunification. Maybe they don't want to, for lack of a better term, rule us. Maybe they just want to really say that person is an extremist. That person's an extremist, and in their mind, a purge would be fantastic for them. Because it would. Yeah.
No, call me Klaus von Stauffenberg.
Right? Absolutely.
One of the great films that Tom Cruise ever made, the story of Klaus von Stauffenberg. He's up for canonization.
Is he?
There's a cause for. Well, he basically died a martyr, for sure, for certain. I believe there's a cause that has been open for Klaus von Stauffenberg. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Operation Valkyrie, great Tom Cruise flick. Just, are we in an operation, the Nazis, they haven't built the camp. Listen to me, people. They're going to build the camps. They're coming for, they're going to put us in the camps. The rail cars are already there. I'm telling you, that's why they came after me. Actually, Alex Jones was pleasantly reassuring yesterday, and I thought, not Alex Jonesy. Richard, hang on a second. I want to take another call. Just hold on a sec. Tony B in New Orleans. Next up on Mike Church on the Crusade Radio Network. Tony B.
Hey, TKD. Formerly from Fort Worth. Now I'm in Canberra.
Hey, Canberra.
Hey, I don't know if I'm going to be so much pushing back as maybe elaborating or boiling this down to its essence. The country club, so-called Republicans, they like big government every bit as much as the commie demon rats do.
Yes.
And so they only care about one thing, not us. It's their little spot at the oasis. And so the bigger the government, the more of our tax dollars they have to swim around in up there on Capitol Hill and play Monopoly with all of their buds on K Street, defense contractors, etc. So that's why you got like the Speaker of the House, reneging on his commitments and letting the demon rats have their way in the House of Representatives. That's just the way their game is played. That's the way they play the game.
No, Tony, you're absolutely correct. I'm just about out of time, but I appreciate the comment, brother. And it's nice to actually get to talk to you, Tony B.
God bless you guys.
All right, man. Thank you. Richard, I want to go back to Richard. Tony B gives me an idea. We talked about the Tea Party. Maybe we should also form something called the Tax Party. We need Rick Santelli to come and give us a pep talk. And the tax party would propose this. Okay, Mike Johnson, Speaker Zion, you wouldn't defund Merrick Garland's attack machine? We'll defund it. We're all walking out of payroll withholding today. I'm informing my employer, don't you tax me for another nickel. I'm claiming 1099 today. I'm not even claiming 1099. I'm just claiming my right as an American citizen. I'm not paying your taxes anymore. Good idea, bad idea?
Fantastic idea. Just people have the stones to do it. Probably
That's
not
it.
because it's part of their routine.
Well, if you're going to die anyway, they're,
Right.
if they're going to come and get us, if they're going to gulag us anyway, why not?
True.
Entire MAGA wing.
What?
Prison. Entire MAGA wing in the prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the D block, the A block, and the MAGA block. Actually, we had to expand the MAGA block and combine it with A and B. And so A, B, and C block, that's now the MAGA block.
Yeah.
You know, to have Biden running around for 3 years, or the last 2 years in earnest, first of all, to have the Attorney General of the United States declare war on white people, white Christian people, and then have that backed up by the Department of Defense, and then to build the army of non-white heterosexual people. These are all signs, folks. You're kidding yourself if you don't think that Lloyd Austin and those people aren't building a military force that will be willing to turn their guns on people like me and Richard and our families, because we're not like them, right? We're the persecutors of them. You don't want little children to be free to mutilate themselves. These things don't happen accidentally here, okay? Biden running around for 2 years now, screaming and scowling at us and calling us MAGA extremists, okay? Calling 80 million, about 40% of your adult population, an extremist means that they're trying to isolate. Why would you want to do that, Mike? Why would they want to do that? Well, if they can isolate you, then they can identify you, and then after they've identified you, should circumstances warrant, well, then they can make plans to get rid of you. Folks, well, our refuge is literally now in our states. You better find out who your governor is. You better find out who your state representative is. You better find out who your sheriff is. Right, Richard? That's Prepper 101.
Absolutely. Yep. The best line standing between you and a tyrannical government is a good sheriff.
Remember, he is the highest Constitution officer in any county in the United States. Your sheriff.
100%.
I know who mine is. His name's Randy Smith. Hey, you're going to be able to join me for the press conference.
Yes, I have a couple of things that you have to take care of first, but I will be there.
Okay, brother. Thank you very much. God bless you, Richard, for your great
God
work,
bless.
and thanks for hanging out. Folks, we're going to take a little hour break. We'll be back prior to the press conference starting at 11 a.m. here. So keep it tuned here at the Crusade Channel. All our channels will broadcast the press conference everywhere we broadcast this show right now. So we'll do all that. And I have to throw a plug out. Can you shop in the store today or make a donation? CrusadeChannel.com/donate. Become a member /go. Go to the store and shop. There's too much great stuff. How about some Beast and Butt Rub, the barbecue this weekend, and some good books to read. Go to shop.mikechurch.com. Thanks for supporting the Crusade Radio Network and the Crusade Radio Guild. We will see you in not even an hour right here on the Crusade Radio Network. God bless you and merry keep you.